FM if it's not 11:20 a.m. or the Odyssey app, totally free. We are live and you can go back and get the podcast later.
Time now for the top of the order. The top three stories everybody will be talking about.
I'd say kind of an eventful town hall last night on CNN for presidential candidate Donald Trump, who is running for a second term. We'll talk about what that town hall means moving forward here in the show today.
And before the Missouri legislative session closes tomorrow at 6 p.m., House Republicans have sent two bills regarding transgender youths to the desk of Governor Parson, one regarding gender-affirming care, the other about youth sports.
And the Cardinals last night take a beating at Wrigley Field in the finale of the series there. We will talk that over and Cardinals issues with our sports fella, Matt Pauley, at 11:30 today.
There was a tape deposition of you from October, and you defended the comments that you made on that Access Hollywood tape about being able to grab women how you want. Do you stand by those comments?
I said if you're famous and rich or whatever I said, but I said if you're a star, you are, and I said women let you. I didn't say you grab. I said women let. You didn't use that word, but if you look, women let you. Now, they said, will you take that back? I said, look, for a million years, this is the way it's been. I want to be honest. This is the way it's been. I can take it back if you'd like to, but if you're a famous person, if you're a star, and I'm not referring to myself, I'm saying people that are famous, people that are
you
stars,
were asked in the deposition,
people that are rich,
yourself to be a star,
people
and you
that are
said
powerful,
yes.
They tend to do pretty well in a lot of different ways, okay? And you would like me to take that back? I can't take it back because it happens to be true. I said it's been true for 1 million years, approximately 1 million years, perhaps a little bit longer than that.
So you stand by those comments?
Well, I don't want to lie.
Million years. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji, that was Donald Trump on CNN. Caitlin Collins was, I guess, would you call it moderating? I don't know if it's moderating, if it's just one person. Kind of an interview, town hall style situation.
It did feel like some type of quasi-moderating. Primarily, it's hard to interview Donald Trump. It's hard to rein him in.
Yeah, it always has been.
Yeah.
Because it's like a fire hose of information, a lot of it bad, and it just comes out. So
it's hard to process what he's saying. It's hard to respond to his answers because there are so many seemingly unconnected aspects to every answer. A lot of them aren't true. I wouldn't know how you would know where to start.
No, I would think that you would get steamrolled because he is such a big personality.
Yeah.
Now, we're not really going to go into exactly the content of everything he said last night, but there is, I think, an interesting debate that is going on about the town hall itself. The fact that CNN gave it to him and gave him a primetime slot, and certainly a lot of people watched it last night. Here's what we know. Nobody's changing their mind on Donald Trump at this point. If you hate the guy, you're still going to hate the guy. If you think he's the best thing that's ever happened in this country, there's no way you don't think that any longer. You think what you think about Donald Trump, and I can't imagine there's a person alive who's been paying attention for the last 8-ish years or so that doesn't already know how they feel about him. I can't imagine there's still an independent out there like, oh, I need more information. There just can't be, right? The question is, and for a lot of people, the debate is happening now. Should they have given him that platform? And there are two sides of this, and I think there's validity in both of them. One, on one hand, here is a guy who incited a riot at the Capitol and tried to remain the president and continually, and he did so last night, says that the election was stolen from him and that it was rigged. It was not rigged. It is one of the most secure elections in history, and there's evidence of it.
And I just want to add, when you say incited a riot, the purpose of that riot was to stop the peaceful transfer of power.
Right.
That's the key.
Right. So that's on one hand. On the other hand, this is very likely the Republican nominee for president. Can you just ignore him? And I don't think that you can totally say, you know what, we're not giving him any sort of attention whatsoever. You can't, as a media organization, I don't think, do that with somebody like him, who is probably going to be their nominee. If it was some, down the line primary candidate who had like 0.5% of the vote right now, it was polling terribly, sure, you could ignore that person if you want to. I'm just not sure you can totally ignore this guy. But do you have to give him a platform? It's a really interesting debate happening right now.
I will say, if you want to join in, 314-436-7900. You can call or text. Here's what's interesting about the town hall platform, because you can't ignore him. You can't ignore a former president who is the presumable front runner in the GOP nomination for the 2024 presidency. Okay, so you can't ignore him. You had mentioned earlier, do we give him a town hall, right? Do you have to give him a town hall even if you don't acknowledge him? Because it is a platform and he can do what he does. And that's what makes Trump so interesting. You can be a great priest, you can be a great teacher, you can also be a great, and what I mean by great is skilled, bad guy. You can be a really skilled dictator, narcissist, thief, whatever you want to say. Whatever it is that Trump is, he's good at it, because giving him a town hall somehow is like lobbing a softball into right down Broadway for him to hit. I don't know how, because a town hall is not equally great for everyone. I would not give Joe Biden a town hall and think that he was going to come out the other side of it looking great, just because we know he struggled, because we know part of his campaign has been to limit the amount of time that he talks and answers questions. With Trump, because he just throws everything at the wall, there are so many random stories and comments and jokes and facts that have to be double checked and triple checked, because you're thinking, what did he even say? Is that true? Did that happen? It's hard to keep track. Somehow he always leaves these town halls better in his game, whatever game he is that he's playing.
I don't know if it's better. I just don't think it's worse. For the people who already support him, that nothing's going to change. And I don't know what happens in 2024. I don't know how that election goes. This will be, we said it about the last election, that it was one of the, if not the most important in history. It certainly was up there. This one is going to be as well, too, maybe even more so, because how do they now react at the polls several years after January 6th happening? Because I think that did turn off a lot of Republican voters at the time. Maybe not everybody. Look, again, his supporters are his people, and they're never going to leave him. I don't think he can do anything to make them finally say, oh gosh, all right, that was one too far, my friend. I just don't think that's possible at this point for about 35% of the country.
Were you surprised by how adamantly he refused to say that Ukraine was fighting a defensive war, and Ukraine, when Caitlin Collins asked, who do you want to win? Say, Ukraine. I want them to win in the sense of defending their territory that Russia invaded. And he would not say, and Caitlin Collins asked him multiple times, he would not say who he wanted to quote unquote win. Well, I'm not going to use the term win. I just want them to stop fighting. But it wasn't just that he had quibbles with the word win. He went out of his way, was very deliberate not to condemn Russia, not just explicitly, but implicitly. You would not know who was the bad guy in that situation by Trump's answers.
You're asking me if I'm surprised? No.
Yeah.
The answer is no.
Because
no,
he was
not at all.
He responded in a way that a Russian ambassador would say, "We just don't want any more fighting." Like, it was weird.
Does that surprise you?
I don't know. I'm not sure what I was expecting.
Knowing what we know over the last several years.
Yeah.
And the way I think a lot of people, and in particular on the right, are shifting toward we need to get out of Ukraine, or we should have nothing to do with them, or whatever. That does not surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
No.
I guess I was just a little surprised by the lengths he went to make sure that not a single word that he said could be used to implicate that he thought Russia was doing anything wrong.
That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. Again, we'd like to hear from you what your thoughts on the town hall were last night. What do you think? Should CNN have given him that essentially became a rally? And it's a campaign rally is what it was last night. 314-436-7900. Tell us why you think it should have happened or not. You're listening to KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX for all the news, sports, talk, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How would you like the potential to participate in credited interest from market index returns and limit the downside? Join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio. You can also call me now for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233.
Hey guys, Glover here, and I see clearly thanks to Doctors Bertie and Malhotra, and you can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Caring for residents for over a century, Manor Grove is committed to making everyone feel at home. Choosing a home for your loved one to reside is an important decision and shouldn't be taken lightly. Manor Grove makes your decision easy with medical professionals and staff who care for residents like family. If you are looking for a caring and quality nursing home and rehab facility, please visit our website, manorgrove.com, and take our virtual tour. Manor Grove, over a century of caring. Welcome home to Manor Grove.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. When planning your summer vacation, pick a destination close to where you live to limit the impact of fuel to get there. There might even be areas of your own city you want to explore in depth. And if you're planning to go camping, learn how to have a leave no trace trip, so you can leave the campsite the same way or even cleaner than you found it. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Trusted information, live and local. From the award-winning KMOX Newsroom.
When you said you are considering pardoning a large portion of those charged with crimes on January 6th, does that include the 4 Proud Boys members who were charged and convicted of seditious conspiracy?
I don't know. I'd have to look at their case, but I will say in Washington, D.C., you cannot get a fair trial. You cannot. Just like in New York City, you can't get a fair trial either.
That is former President Donald Trump in a CNN town hall last night. Went about an hour and a half, I guess it was, and he took questions from Caitlin Collins, who tried to moderate, and she, I think, got steamrolled at some point there, which is what typically happens in an interview like that. It was a crowd of his supporters, mostly, I believe, or it was Republican voters, Republican-leading voters.
I was looking into the
primary voters.
crowd. I felt like a lot of the audience members were clapping and smiling, and there were some that were just sitting there.
Yeah, there was a
seriously.
lot of smiling, though.
Yeah.
Which, anyway, look, like I said, people think what they think about him, and none of that is going to change. And I'm sure the people who liked him, who were in the audience last night, left thinking he was even better than they thought he was going to be because they got to see him live in person. Do you think CNN, because there is a debate happening and it's been going on since last night, even people who work for that network seem to be appalled that they gave him the platform they did. I see the other side of this. As much as I don't care for him, and I've been explicit with this, I've never liked Donald Trump ever before, way before he was president. I just don't like him as a personality. I didn't like him as a media personality. I just don't like the guy. That hasn't changed for me, and I'm sure it hasn't changed for a lot of other people, but I see this other side of he is going to be their nominee. I would be really stunned at this point if DeSantis finds a way to overtake him. I don't think it's going to happen. So can you just go ahead and ignore him altogether and say, we're not going to give him
Right.
the platform? I don't think you can do
Well,
that if
you-
he'll be the Republican nominee.
Yeah, I don't think you can ignore him. Here's my question, though. If this town hall didn't change anybody's minds, if people who disliked Donald Trump still dislike Donald Trump, people who love Donald Trump still love him, people who are ambivalent are still ambivalent,
Yeah.
what is the harm in having the town hall?
I guess there isn't one. I mean, that's a great point, because if it's not going to change any minds,
Mhm.
then
If anyone's going to be upset, I would think that it would be non-Trumpian Republicans who
I guess
feel like give DeSantis a town hall to win people over.
the only danger that would exist is if you think Trump's ideas are dangerous, if you think
Mhm.
he's a dangerous person, the more those ideas are amplified,
Mhm.
the more they will sink in with some people. I guess that would be the only danger of it. But you make a good point that, look, if you've already made up your mind about him, then something like last night doesn't really matter. Here's a text message from a 618. It says, I'm tired of hearing about past elections and whether or not they were legitimate. Let's talk about what's going on currently and look forward to the next election. Move on. And you know what? That is totally valid, and I get that. However, he was asked last night if he will accept the results in 2024. And he says, if it's a legitimate election.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still doing this. So you can't really just pretend like 2020 didn't happen and the last 3 years of denialism didn't happen.
Mhm.
You have to be mindful of it. We can't ignore it.
Yeah, I would just say that if anyone's going to be upset, it would primarily be, again, non-Trumpian Republicans who want to give some of the oxygen in the GOP to other potential presidential nominees like a Ron DeSantis. What bothers me is I do think that there is no small contingent of Democrats who want Trump to be the Republican nominee because they believe he is beatable. That is such a dangerous game to play. We saw it in the midterms. We talked about it. It was condemned by a lot of Democrats that we talked to, that it's a dangerous game to play to get these MAGA Republicans in these elections, these general elections, because they're beatable. Maybe you better hope that he's beatable. If he could spell the end of democracy, like if you truly believe that it could spell the end of democracy, the downfall of America, the rise of fascism, you don't want that guy to be the GOP nominee. I don't care how beatable you think he is.
Another text message says, this is from a 636. You need to look at big picture items. We were energy independent under Trump, lower prices, good 401k, etc. Who cares about his personality? I think a lot of that's very inaccurate. We are not any less energy independent now than we were before him or during him. I don't really understand where that comes from. 401ks are not really a function of who's the president. They were good under Obama, too. So did he do a great job with 401ks? Did you acknowledge that? And the lower prices thing, we have to stop saying this is about the president, because it's not. This is going on literally everywhere. And inflation is coming down. It has been. It's been slowing for a while. That is about what happened with the pandemic, which was a worldwide phenomenon. It was a worldwide thing.
And I will say this about energy. There are some energy policies that I feel like are fluff. They're very tedious and cumbersome, especially for small businesses. I don't think they make a big difference. You tend to see
Maybe.
that more with Democrats. But Biden and the Biden administration just gave the green light to an 807-mile natural gas pipeline project in Alaska. A lot of climate activists felt betrayed by this because the Biden administration did approve this new pipeline project. And I bring that up because money talks, and there is so much money in oil, and there is so much money in the pharmaceutical companies that I think a lot of politicians can have their talking points, but those businesses lobby so heavily on both sides that ultimately money's going to sway the decision more than the goodwill of the climate activists. So I do think, yes, there is a difference with energy under Biden versus maybe more Trump or Republican president, but it's not to the extent that most people think it is, because money talks.
No, you're exactly right. And that same person texts back in and says, Chris, you're better than that.
I appreciate that.
We were not energy independent any more so 4 years ago than we are now. That's ridiculous to say that. It's totally, totally ridiculous. There really hasn't been a ton of movement in any direction that way. I think there is this effort, and there are people who want us to be energy independent, and that's on both sides of the aisle. That's not just a Democratic idea. There are people all over who want that to happen, but I don't know what this person is talking about.
Yeah, and again,
we're getting the same amount of oil from other countries that we always have been. There's not been a dramatic change in that way.
And again, a lot of this, I feel, is above my pay grade, because just when I feel like I start to understand some of it, there are just different layers to it. There's a reason why the oil companies made record profits, tens of billions of dollars in profits. I also understand how some of that's ephemeral, because from one year to the next, the oil prices can shift so dramatically. The president of the United States has a way less effect on oil prices
than OPEC.
Come
on, man.
Then we give him credit for it.
And this goes for any president of any party.
Yeah.
Stop talking about gas prices in the presidency, because they are not related. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji. When we come back, we will talk to Major Garrett, chief Washington correspondent for CBS. He's next.
You can't blame one person, you can't blame one group, you can't blame one generation. But it sucks that St. Louis has become marginalized and a laughingstock and feared. Like, we're really cool. We have so many things that are just amazing. You know, we have a great heritage here. We have a great history, not just sports. I'm proud to be on KMOX, proud to be from St. Louis. We can move forward and move up. We just all have to remember who we are. And who we are is pretty damn cool.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays at 1 on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Let's be honest, shopping for insurance is a pain in the you-know-what. I'm Zach Gibson, owner of Zachary Gibson Insurance Agency. Let my agency shop for you. As an independent insurance agent, I can shop numerous insurance companies to help design a plan at the best possible price to help you with your home, auto, life, health, and business insurance. Contact me at ZachGibsonInsurance.com. That's ZACGibsonInsurance.com. You can also call 314-210-3649 and let me shop for you.
This is Tom Ackerman. McKelvey Homes is proud to announce they sold 30 homes in the first quarter and will donate $1,898, $1,898 the year they were founded 125 years ago, per home to Cardinal Glendon Children's Hospital. They call it Homes for Health. That's a total of $56,940. You can learn more about McKelvey Homes and all of their single-family, multifamily residences and more at McKelveyHomes.com.
At 10:30, we have cloudy skies, 71 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. President Vladimir Zelensky says Ukraine is delaying its long-awaited counteroffensive against Russia's occupying forces, saying that while such a campaign would succeed, too many of his troops' lives would be lost. His remarks in an interview with European broadcasters came shortly before Britain said it has sent long-range air-launched cruise missiles to Ukraine that would allow pilots to target locations deep behind the front line. A Ukrainian counteroffensive against Russia's invasion has been expected as winter turned to spring, and Zelensky said in an interview that we can go forward and be successful, but Zelensky added that Ukraine would lose a lot of people. Quote, I think that's unacceptable, close quote. Migrants rushing across the border hours before pandemic-related asylum restrictions are to expire, fearing that policies will make it far more difficult to gain entry into the United States. In a move to clear out overwhelmed holding facilities, a U.S. official says Border Patrol agents were told Wednesday to begin releasing some migrants with instructions to appear at an immigration office in the United States within 60 days. The Biden administration has been unveiling measures to replace Title 42, which suspended rights to seek asylum since March 2020 on grounds of preventing the spread of COVID-19. The weather is sponsored by New Season Spa and Salon in Ronnie's Plaza, newseasonspa.com. Cloudy, not quite as warm today. It will be humid, a couple of showers, even a thunderstorm from later this morning into this afternoon. Expect a high today around 76 degrees. For tonight, cloudy, warm, humid, a couple of showers and a thunderstorm possible, an overnight low of 67. And then tomorrow, cloudy and warm, humid again, a spotty thunder shower possible, a high of 83. Right now, we have cloudy skies, 71 degrees in downtown St. Louis. Trust New Season Spa and Salon in Ronnie's Plaza for an unforgettable way to celebrate this Mother's Day. Now offering med spa services like microblading to enhance your eyebrows. Come in with your mom and get a fresh new look that lasts at New Season Spa, newseasonspa.com. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Cardinals baseball is in full swing.
Right center field, a grand slam for Nolan Gorman.
With the free Odyssey app, you can stream the team all summer long in your backyard, at the beach, or wherever you're listening.
And it's a gunner! An opposite field home run for Wilson Contreras.
Cardinals baseball. Cardinals announcers. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Get in the game and download it today.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Broadcasting from the Underline Three Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Charlie Brennan here. Last year, Beth and I discovered water in the ceiling near the chimney in the front of our house. We immediately called Morelli Tuck Pointing, St. Louis's premier tuck pointer since 1991. The Morelli team then tuck pointed the front and the rear chimneys above the roof and spot tuck pointed below the roof. Morelli used a waterproof mortar that perfectly matched the existing mortar. Then the guys re-cemented the cap, sealed the flashing, and waterproofed the chimney. They then cleaned up so you could never tell any work was done. The Brennans no longer see any water in our front room. And I think if you live in a brick or stone home in need of repair, call the company that's received the Angie's List Super Service Award every year, back to back to back since 2005. Morelli, winner of the BBB Torch Award. Check out their reviews on the Google, Angie's List, and Better Business Bureau websites. MorelliTuckPointing.com, 314-645-1387.
What defines us is who we are as a collective group and how we progress and gain momentum through the season.
The Coach's Corner with St. Louis City Coach Bradley Carnell. Mondays at 9:35 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
When you've talked about the 2020 election results in the past, you once suggested terminating the Constitution. Do you stand by those comments?
No. You were able to do certain things. I'm not talking about terminating the Constitution. I'm talking about cherishing the Constitution. The Constitution says that we're supposed to have legal and well-maintained and well-looked-at elections, and we didn't have that. I cherish our Constitution, but we have to live up to the Constitution. We weren't living up to the Constitution.
Chris and Amy on KMOX. That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. We are joined every Thursday at 10:30 by the chief Washington correspondent for CBS News, Major Garrett. He is also author of The Big Truth, Upholding Democracy in the Age of the Big Lie, and the Takeout podcast. And Major is with us this Thursday. Good morning, Major Garrett.
Good morning. How is everybody?
We are doing okay here in St. Louis. A little bit cool, but we know the hot, muggy weather is coming. But we're also paying attention and did pay attention to what happened in the town hall last night. You heard that exchange. What are your thoughts? I think I know, but let's get your thoughts.
Well, let's just go back to some basic civics. What the Constitution says about elections is states determine time, manner, and place. That's what the Constitution says, period. Constitution also doesn't say anything about the vice president presiding in the Senate over the certification of electoral votes, doing anything other than counting the ballots. That's what the Constitution says. So the two things that you just heard former President Trump say about the Constitution are fundamentally incorrect. So you can believe that he cherishes that document, but to believe that he cherishes it, you must therefore believe he cherishes a misunderstanding of it. To my belief, if you cherish the Constitution, you know what it says. And if you don't know what it says, you are not cherishing it. Period.
Major, you're a media man, and there's been a lot of discussion about the ethics or propriety of CNN hosting a town hall and giving former President Trump this platform. What do you think about that?
Let's imagine this scenario. Let's say CNN went to former President Trump and said, we'll do the town hall, but what we will do is we will take questions online from New Hampshire voters. We will ask them to you in a studio in which there is no live audience, and it's just you and one CNN journalist. Would you accept those conditions? You know and I know that former President Trump would not have accepted those conditions because those conditions would not have allowed him to do what he did last night. Play to the crowd, have the crowd laugh, applaud, stand, and otherwise encourage him to be what he is, a serial misleader about things he is being asked about. So CNN had to compromise. CNN could have said, no, that's it. We give you an hour, but we give it to you on our terms. Trump lobbied for what he got. And my takeaway is that he's a better executive producer of a television show than Chris Licht is, period.
It's interesting you say that because it's a thing I have said in the past and leading up to the last election. I don't like audiences for debates. I think it's all it is a TV show, and it's an opportunity for people to have a good one-liner that gets a reaction from the crowd. All debates, in my opinion, should be in a room. You have the candidates, you have the moderator. That's it. But we'll never go that direction because it's not good television.
To your point, one of the things that sustains the former president in his particular approach to facts or misstatements of facts, and there were so many, is that he looks to the crowd and draws encouragement from it to see what, look, they love it. They're buying it. They're eating it up. They're lapping it up. What are you looking at me for? What am I doing? I'm giving the people what they want. And at a certain level of democratic politics, there is an underlying truth and legitimacy to that. I would never suggest otherwise. But to your point, Chris, one of the ways to slow that down or blunt it completely is to have a much more sterile, formal, and non-interactive encounter with a candidate, where the candidate has to live up to the burden of being the television person. Now, Trump could do that. Trump does that better than most. He wouldn't be at a disadvantage in a silent studio with no audience and a questioner and a bunch of questions. He would still do what Trump does, but he would have less emotional impact and he would draw less energy from it, which is why we didn't see it.
You moderated a Democratic debate back in 2020, so Trump wasn't on that stage, and I know he's kind of a wild card, but you're still making judgment calls. When do you let them speak? When do you cut in? How quickly are you making those judgment calls? What did Caitlin Collins have to deal with last night?
An impossible situation. Straight up, an impossible situation. Because that audience and the way that CNN agreed to construct the format worked against her. And the former president knew that as many times as she interjected, and she interjected as many times as journalistically, and I would argue humanly possible. Okay? When you have an interview subject, whether it's a governor, a senator, a member of Congress, a mayor, whatever, you have to give that person some space to answer. You can't jump in instantly. You have to give them some space. So in that process, in that space, which Trump knows he's going to get, he starts laying it on thick. Then she has an obligation to jump in and try to hold him to account. But because it's Trump, and I've dealt with the former president many times, candidate, president, former president, he already knows where you're going to go or has a very keen sense of it. And therefore, he knows where he's going to go. And so you pin him down on one thing, he just jumps to another place, leaving you grasping for that thing you're trying to nail down, that fact you're trying to establish. He's already moved on. He's jumped to another spot, looks at the audience and says, hey, look where I'm at now. They're still over there trying to nail me down. I've jumped over here. Isn't this fun? And for Trump supporters, it is. For the rest of the country, I think at minimum it gives them pause. And for a lot of Democrats and some Democratic-leaning independents, it's a horror show reminder of the 4 years of the presidency that they voted against in 2020. So don't mistake me. I'm not saying that what happened last night was a complete victory for the former president. Within a primary context, in a Republican conversation, it was a plus, no doubt. But I guarantee you, President Biden, the Democratic National Committee, and every state Democratic Party saw things in that presentation last night that they will turn into ads and use against the former president if he becomes the Republican nominee in 2024.
There is no question Trump is great with a crowd. He knows how to get them worked up in his favor. What I'm wondering now, after seeing last night, and it's not like that was a new display, we've seen him do this before, with Ron DeSantis having yet to announce he's running for president officially, we expect an announcement to come here at any day now. How can he beat that?
So it's a good question, and I would broaden it out a little bit. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie said something on a podcast I listened to called The Dispatch with David Drucker. I listen to my podcast, of course, but I also listen to others. And Governor Christie said something that's very true. There is no campaign yet on the Republican side. There just isn't. Because with all due respect to Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy and Asa Hutchinson, no one is taking the case to Trump directly. No one has the polling numbers. No one has the finance backing behind them. We don't have a campaign yet. Once DeSantis gets in and Tim Scott gets in, and if Chris Christie decides to get in, and maybe John Sununu gets in as a favorite son in New Hampshire, then we might have a campaign where people actually say, Donald Trump is wrong for the future of the Republican Party, and this is why. Until that moment happens, if it happens, there is no campaign. And the former president's super PAC sent out an email last night, which I thought was very telling after the town hall. Let's wrap up this primary now. Let's just finish the work. He wants a coronation. He doesn't want a direct conflict with DeSantis or Tim Scott or John Sununu or Chris Christie over these things. He wants to wrap it up now. Said, let's just finish it. Send me a bunch of money. Let me wrap this up so we don't have to have any conversation in a Republican primary context. Well, if he gets that, all the better for him. Maybe not so great for the Republican Party. But one thing we know for sure, until somebody gets in who has formidable fundraising, some kind of ground organization in the early states, and is willing to say, not once, but over and over again, I'm better, he's wrong for the future, and these are the reasons why there is no campaign.
Major Garrett, we appreciate your time as always, but first tell us who's on the takeout this week.
Governor Katie Hobbs, Democrat of Arizona, won one of the most closely watched governor's race in all the 2022 cycle. I was out there last week as part of the McCain Institute Sedona Forum. Talked to her a lot about immigration, the economy, Joe Biden's reelection campaign. It's a great conversation, and she is on the front lines as a border state Democratic governor. And her bottom line on immigration is this administration isn't prepared, hasn't been listening to us, and isn't giving us the tools we need to prepare.
Look forward to it. Major, we appreciate your time, and we'll talk next week.
Thank you.
That is Major Garrett, Chief Washington Correspondent for CBS News. The Takeout podcast is available on the free Odyssey app, where you can also listen to KMOX and Chris and Amy. When we come back, did you see this? It's next on the show.
Well, this Saturday, I will be emceeing the Girls on the Run 5K, and it's always a Fun morning and a long morning. You're out in Forest Park all day. All the girls are running. Very exciting. I will be wearing my Prevent Sprain socks. This is going to help encourage blood flow, reduce swelling, and reduce fatigue in my feet and ankles because I might be on my feet from maybe 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. Standing outside a beautiful morning. The Prevent Sprain socks can make sure that I'll be ready to go after the event. See, Prevent Sprain socks are tested to maintain medical grade compression. That's what you need to make sure that you've got enough compression around the ankle, the foot, the lower leg to increase blood flow. They're also the only socks patented and tested for complete ankle support and stability. So if you were to twist your ankle, they can not only help prevent sprain and lessen the severity of sprain, but also lessen recovery time. And you know, ankle injuries are the number one injury in sports across the country, whether you're playing softball, soccer, baseball, running, walking, trail running, hiking, whatever it may be. You want socks that actively help keep you healthy and on your feet. Visit them today at PreventSprainSocks.com.
I'm listening daily. Here's Demi Lovato on how she stays positive.
The forms of self-care that I'm engaging in during this painful but necessary moment in history, I'm meditating a lot, whether it's like in between breaks on set or it's starting my day. Meditation has become key to me. Also just taking care of myself in other ways, making sure I get rest, things like that.
For more details, go to imlistening.org.
Sponsored by Compass Health Network. We're here for you.
The time is 10:27, and the time check brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Yes, with inflation, interest rate increases, and a possible recession looming, we are no doubt facing uncertain times in the housing market. But as a realtor with over 20 years of experience, I can tell you, if you're thinking of selling your home, now more than ever, you need a realtor to help you through these times while saving you money. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty, and we offer all of this for only 4%. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
The king of ragtime celebrates his queen. This spring, immerse yourself in a forgotten jewel of American artistry with the opera Tremonisha. Opening May 20th at Opera Theater of St. Louis. Embark on a life-affirming journey of love and creativity in this rarely seen masterpiece by Scott Joplin, the famed composer and St. Louis resident who is best known for the Maple Leaf Rag and The Entertainer. As Joplin celebrates his wedding to his new bride, Freddie Alexander, he is inspired to write a masterpiece with Freddie as his muse. His heroine will be called Tremonisha, and she will lead her community into a bright, bountiful future of education, opportunity, and prosperity. Joplin's music merges African-American folk traditions with classical music, creating a unique masterpiece. Their result is a joyous and sublime testament to the power of love. Don't miss this rare opportunity to witness Scott Joplin's Tremonisha and be a part of the story. Tickets start at just $25. Learn more at experienceopera.org.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find tools for the job site or your own backyard at over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and the Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Furnish hope right here in St. Louis. Donate your unneeded furniture and household goods to Home Sweet Home. Visit www.homesweethomestl.org to learn more.
Dude, I'm here for the show.
What show? St. Louis, this is your show.
The show.
The show on KMOX.
Did you see that thing? I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me? No way.
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy on the show?
Amy, I don't know if you saw this or not, but PETA's not happy.
Oh.
I don't mean my neighbor, PETA. I mean PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
Oh.
They are mad
Okay,
at
first of all, have they ever been happy?
No.
I know.
No.
They're not like the happiest group I've ever met.
They don't even want you to own pets, right?
No. No, I don't think you can do anything with pets.
You can't have a pet. You definitely can't eat a steak in front of them.
No.
But PETA is not happy that Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, they have the Clydesdales. Wonderful, magnificent horses Remember Cash? Remember how we met Cash the Clydesdale?
Cash was incredible.
Dude, he was awesome. I own him now.
That's
And
what I
anyway, PETA wants Budweiser to stop cutting the tails of the Clydesdales. First of all, I didn't know they did it. They look great, though. I don't know if it's harmful to the animal, really. But anyway, they want them to stop.
Yeah.
And they have written a letter to... Guess who they've written a letter to?
Well, I think I know. Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Of all people. People for the ethical treatment of animals. They have sent a letter to Donald Trump hoping that he will do something about the tails.
And that's because he owns $1 to $5 million worth of stock in AB, has had a relationship with them.
Yeah.
It's a financial interest.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't feel like that's on the top of Trump's list, but they wrote a letter,
Can
and
you imagine
they're right.
if he does address it the next time he speaks? Budweiser, they need to stop with the tails. I don't do a good Trump.
No, you don't.
But can you imagine?
Yeah.
That should be his first order of business on the campaign trail, is to talk about Clydesdale's tails. Let me say a thing about PETA. I absolutely agree that we should not torture animals.
No. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right? We should not do that. But PETA, I don't feel like this organization... You know how we make fun of people who go into art museums and glue themselves to paintings? Yes. And all we do is laugh at them?
Yeah.
As opposed to, you know what? That's a really good idea those people have. We should get behind them. PETA does so much work to make you roll your eyes at them and do nothing else.
They're very extreme, very obnoxious, and they're not winning people over because the primary concept that you should not be cruel to animals should appeal to 99.9% of humans. Only sickos and perverts. Like, being cruel to animals is a number one sign that you're a psychopath. And I think our farming, the different types of farming methods we have, we need to make sure that those are kind and they're cruelty free. At any rate, yeah, PETA at least they wrote a letter. Very kind.
That was nice of them.
I don't know if you saw this. Ramesh Ponnuru, he writes a lot for the National Review, also had a piece in the Washington Post with 11 questions he would have asked Donald Trump last night. Here's a couple of them. For the first 2 years you were president, Republicans held the House and the Senate. Why didn't you get them to pass funding for a wall on the southern border? Did then House Speaker Paul Ryan outmaneuver you, or did you drop the ball? Also, in your inaugural address in 2017, you referred to the scourges of crime and drugs, among other things, as American carnage. Crime rates, homicide rates, and drug overdose rates all rose during your presidency. Why did you fail to reduce the carnage? He also said you included the trade deficit as a cause of that carnage. It, too, increased during your presidency. It kept increasing under President Biden, who has largely kept your trade policies. How do you explain this failure? And so forth and so forth. He goes on. Also, in 2020, you said that you had, quote, total authority to end state lockdowns. Does that mean you were pleased with how long the lockdowns have lasted? Many of your strongest supporters believe the coronavirus vaccines are one of the greatest public health atrocities in memory. You have said that the vaccine rollout was one of the greatest miracle of the ages. Who is wrong? And then this one, I will say, there needs to be more made about this. Trump said that he did not assault E. Jean Carroll because she wasn't his type. And he asks, Ramesh Ponnuru says, when defending yourself against E. Jean Carroll's accusations of sexual assault, you explained that she wasn't your type. Would you have attacked her if she were your type?
Well, it's an obvious logical leap, isn't it?
What a weird defense.
I know.
I didn't rape her because she wasn't attractive enough. What in the world are you talking about?
Man.
That's a former president saying those things.
I feel like it should bother people more, but it probably doesn't. So,
but I thought those were poignant questions. And
well, I'm going to defend him on the
points.
crime thing because I think, generally speaking, we need to stop blaming presidents for a lot of things that happen, and national crime is one of them. Donald Trump was in office when COVID hit, and COVID spiked crime around the country because of just the unusual nature of the virus and the lockdowns and just and people being put out of work and then resorting to crime and just other stuff. People being at home and crimes of passion with your family because you're, just all kinds of stuff happened. That's not on
I will stop blaming the president for those things when the president stops saying that he can fix them
I
and or
agree with
taking
you.
credit for them when they go down.
I totally agree with you.
I'll stop blaming you for the bad when the president stops taking credit for the good.
Totally agree. Stop giving them credit or blame for this or for gas prices. Like, it just doesn't make sense. There are so many factors outside of their control when it comes to issues like those two issues. It's just true. I don't know, man. Everything's great, Amy. Don't you think?
Well, we're going to talk about the Gateway Arch
Yeah,
next.
let's take a break from the crud and
Yeah.
talk about something cool.
A good Mother's Day gift.
I love the Gateway Arch.
Mhm.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. And the author of The Gateway Arch, an illustrated timeline, John Gunther, is in here next to talk about his book and our wonderful monument right there on the riverfront of St. Louis, Missouri. Amy Marks Korsen, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
When do you need to see an ophthalmologist? Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. Now, that's a good question. If your vision is blurry, you notice dark spots in the middle of your field of vision, you're seeing flashes or new floaters, if you have difficulty seeing distances, if there's a sharp pain in one eye along with vision changes, or if you have trouble driving because of glare, these are all good reasons to make your appointment with the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000 and youridoc.com. And if your eyes are itchy and scratchy, that might be more than allergies. The doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Andrew Royer, and Robert Brusati are also leaders in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. I've been a patient of theirs for about 25 years. In Sullivan, St. Peter's, and their main headquarters, 270 in Manchester, 314-966-5000 and youridoc.com.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey for my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, with some exciting updates for serious home sellers. Gloria Liu understands that every seller situation is different. For some sellers, a 24-hour cash offer solution is a great option to consider. Gloria's 24-hour cash offer solution is for sellers who want no risk, no open houses, don't want to make costly repairs, and want to pick their own closing date. If that sounds like you, call Gloria Liu for a no-obligation 24-hour cash offer. You will have exclusive access to her group of cash buyers who bid against each other in what Gloria calls her cash offer bid box, giving you the best cash offer. These are cash buyers in waiting willing to pay 100% or more of market value. Call Gloria Liu at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
KMOX, KEZK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Are you suffering from hearing loss, but you're afraid that hearing aids will make you look older? The Better Health Institute in Washington, D.C. says this is one of the top myths surrounding hearing loss. But the fact of the matter is, nodding your head and smiling when you have no clue what someone is saying is going to make you look much older than the largest hearing aid. So it's important not to use this as an excuse. It is important to see a clinical audiologist. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I recommend Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 convenient locations, Creve Coeur, Florissant, and in St. Peter's. Dr. Bosler is an expert on the latest technology, and she carries and services the top hearing aids. Plus, I've known her for years. She cares deeply about her patients. Make an appointment today. Call 636-441-7470 or visit online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Awarded 2023 Large Market Radio Station of the Year by the Missouri Broadcasters Association, KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, it's a cloudy sky, 71 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. Less than 2 days to go for Missouri legislators on unresolved issues like sports betting. 6 p.m. tomorrow night is the deadline for the Missouri legislative session. Speaker of the Missouri House, Dean Plocher.
We get a lot done in the end of session. I mean, people are always waiting to see what breaks and what doesn't break, who's willing to work with who.
And, we're getting some good stuff done. It's been a great year.
The Missouri House gave final passage to a pair of bills Wednesday aimed at transgender issues. One requires school athletes to participate in the gender of their birth. The other is a 4-year ban on gender medical treatments. Representative Barbara Pfeiffer of Kirkwood says this impacts her own family.
Look at me. I am affected. My family is affected. My grandchild is affected.
But Republican Brad Hudson says children should not undergo gender-affirming care.
I think if we want to affirm these children, we wouldn't be telling them they were born in the wrong body.
Governor Parson had threatened a special session if the legislature did not put those bills on his desk. Illinois Republicans are calling on the Democratic majority to pass ethics reform legislation in the wake of last week's corruption case involving associates of former Speaker Michael Madigan. Representative Amy Ellick of Alton says corruption in government is eroding public trust.
One way that we can hold on to that trust is to withhold taxpayer-funded pensions. Other states already do this. The clock is running out in Springfield.
Ellick says GOP members have made numerous ethics proposals, but the majority doesn't see it as a priority. More weapons are being donated to Ukraine.
Britain has announced it will send long-range missiles to Ukraine.
The use of Storm Shadow will allow Ukraine to push back Russian forces based within Ukrainian sovereign territory.
Defense Minister Ben Wallace told Parliament this is a measured and calibrated response to Russia's escalation of attacks.
Russia must recognize that their actions alone have led to such systems being provided to Ukraine.
The Storm Shadow is a conventional-only missile with precision strike capability, but is still no match for Russia's arsenal. Elaine Cobb, CBS News.
The national COVID emergency has officially come to an end. Dr. Steve Lawrence, infectious disease physician at Barnes Jewish Hospital, says they've learned a lot over the past 3 years.
This is a reminder that these types of events can and do happen, and they'll happen again. And so we really do need to be ready for the next time something like this happens. Two is that it really highlights what amazing things we can accomplish when we work together.
He says the speed of creating a vaccine was amazing, but the inability to communicate its efficacy to many was frustrating. He says of the 1 million Americans who died of COVID, half died after the vaccine was readily available. The KMOX Business Desk, there's a recall of Peloton bikes.
What's up, Peloton? My name is Camila Ramon. The exercise bike company Peloton has recalled 2 million bikes because of the possibility of falls and injuries linked to the seat. Peloton has received 35 reports of the seat post breaking and detaching from the bike, and 13 reports of injuries, including a broken wrist, cuts, and bruises. The recall involves PLO 1 bikes, not Peloton Plus bikes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Peloton is offering a new free seat post that can be self-installed. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
The Dow from Stifel's down 268 points to 33,262. We've got a closure because of a crash of Earth City Expressway between 370 and St. Charles Rock Road. Some road work on 270 West at New Florissant, the left lane closed, and 70 East at Tucker, the left lane is closed.
KMOX AccuWeather, some occasional showers or some thunder this afternoon. Highs in the upper 70s. Couple of showers and a thunderstorm down to 67 tonight. Low to mid 80s tomorrow with a spotty thunder shower. And then near 90s Saturday, sticky with a thunderstorm around. Couple of showers and a thunderstorm possible on Sunday for Mother's Day, mid 80s. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Right now it's cloudy and 72 in Florissant, 73 St. Peters, and 71 downtown at the Arch. Sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck, your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by the Cardinals. Cardinal tickets for 2023 are on sale now and start at just $6. Info@cardinals.com.
Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ron G. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX. Very happy to have you with us. Hour 2 of the show. We wanted to talk about something fun now.
Yes.
I think all of us here growing up in the St. Louis area, for those of you who did, you've spent some time at the Gateway Arch. It's undergone in the last decade or so some terrific renovations, and we are very glad to have in studio John Gunther, who is an architect and author of The Gateway Arch, an illustrated timeline. John, thanks for being in here today.
Thank you very much. It's great to be with you this morning.
I've always wanted to pretend to be an architect.
I wish I could say that. There are certain things that I wish I could say, and like, well, I'm an architect. I'd throw that around a lot.
Was that a fun time in the 90s when George Costanza was always pretending to be an architect? Was it like a fun architect thing?
I don't know. I was working too hard.
They're working too hard to watch Seinfeld.
And I will say this: we were just talking about the German heritage and how the Mark scores came over in like the 1850s, and all the Mark scores have been in St. Louis. And I'm not Catholic, but my extended family all is. So the Catholic Germans over. And for some reason, as a little kid, I thought, and this is how I'm say this because this is how iconic the arch is. I thought the archdiocese was like our name for it, our name for the diocese. Like, well, this is the archdiocese. And in Dallas, they have a different kind of diocese. I had no idea other cities had archdioceses.
Okay. Anyway, about the Gateway Arch.
You can't tell me I'm the only one that
All
thought
right,
the
that's enough.
archdiocese
Amy
was about the arch.
Amy, let's move on and talk to our guest about the thing that he's in here to talk about, which is the Gateway Arch,
There you
which
go.
60 years ago, construction began on it. I think we're sometime in February, I believe, construction started on the Gateway Arch.
Right.
So, I mean, it's been around, obviously, my entire lifetime. But to think about it, it only feels like 60 years doesn't feel like it's that long, really.
It really doesn't, and yet so much time has passed. Eero Saarinen, made a point of how long it took between the design and the realization of the arch, and he said architecture occurs in elephant time. So it takes a very long time. He won the competition. The competition was held in 1947, and he was declared the winner in 1948. And it wasn't until 1965 that it was topped out. So that was 17 years later.
How did they decide on that design, and what were the other candidates? I don't know how easy it would be to describe them.
Yeah, there was a wide range of submissions, and it was a national competition, and so they received entries from all over the country of all types, very sculptural earthworks, if you will, revisions to the land, to the levee. Traditional looking buildings, columns, you name it, a wide range of designs. And so Eero Saarinen's arch stood out head and shoulders above everything else. And it really caught the attention of the jurors, who were also nationally known architects as well.
And you note that the arch is really iconic for the movement of structural expressionism. What is structural expressionism?
Well, as we can appreciate, this is a very, very dramatic structural design, reaching 630 feet into the air, 630 feet wide. And it is what is called an orthotropic structural design. And by that, I mean, it's a double skin. So what you see is the structure, the outer layer of stainless steel, which we all see, an inner layer of carbon steel. And in between the cavities of those two skins is concrete with reinforcing steel. So that's for the first 300 feet. So at any rate, this is a very expressive design as well. It just soars into the air, and you just understand almost intuitively that it's about the gateway to the west. And so you combine the structural daring and the expression of westward movement, and you have structural expressionism.
I'm just totally fascinated by the idea that something that looks like that, because from a distance, it doesn't look sturdy. You know what I mean?
It's a little wobbly, like it could tip over.
Yeah. It's impressive to me what architects and engineers can accomplish by keeping something like that from, at some point, it's going to fall in the river, but it's clearly not going to happen.
It's built for the ages. Saarinen wanted to have it built for the ages and lasting thousands of years. And really, it is a testimony, I will call it, to co-making, a collaborative effort between the architects and the engineers and the builders, daring as they were, and very safe and skillful. But at any rate, it is there to stay. It does give, and in a 90-mile wind, I understand it will move about 18 inches at the top. So it has to give a little bit, but it's a triumph of engineering.
I'm thinking about when the Blues won the Cup, and there's video of a group of guys trying to push it over into the river.
Like the football goalposts.
like goalposts into the river, and the one guy's like, she ain't budging. It's not going to go.
Well, you mentioned it is a feat of engineering. We've all seen the famous picture of that last piece fitting into the arch between the two columns.
Yeah.
Was there doubt that it would actually work?
I don't, well, I would say not on the part of the designers and the builders, but probably the public. Everybody was holding their breath and seeing, was it going to come together? There was 1/64 of an inch tolerance to get it to work. And so on October 28th of 1965, that last piece was set into place, lifted up a little after 9 in the morning and set into place about 11 in the morning. And the two legs were together as close as 2 feet together. And they had to have a jack that pushed them apart to about 8.5 feet wide to fit the last 8-foot section in. Then they released the jack and the two legs came together and held it in place. But if I may, one of the interesting things was, if it were up to the builders, it probably would have, the topping out would have been in relative darkness and cooler time of day, because this being a metal structure, it expands in the daytime.
Right.
So the famous story behind this day was that the fire department of St. Louis was dousing the south leg of the arch with water to keep it from expanding, so everything would come together properly.
Yeah,
That's
that was
wild.
just my question. With 1/64 of an inch tolerance, temperature had to play a role.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
In fact, they surveyed it every day. They would set up survey equipment and triangulate points in space. The builders called each individual section a can, and it was a triangular section, and they would put a Christmas tree light on the tip of it, and from the ground they would survey up and measure points in space, do all the calculations to figure out that it was right where it should be on that day in order to meet ultimately.
How did they decide on the elevator being shaped like an egg?
That is a design by Dick Bowser. And in 1960, he was introduced to the Saarinen firm, and he's an elevator designer. He and his father had a company that actually the Bowser parking system, they actually lifted cars up into place and then put them into the parking structures. So he was asked, can you design an elevator that doesn't necessarily have to go straight up? And he said, I think so. And so he had a whole 2 weeks to design the tram
Plenty of
system.
time.
Oh my gosh.
At home, day and night, working feverishly, and he had a list of requirements: how many passengers per hour, and so on and so forth per day. And he came up with the design idea of the tram system as this series of trams that are lifted up to the top, and it's based upon the capsules are based upon a Ferris wheel concept and an elevator concept. So they're lifted up, and when you feel them sort of shift and right themselves, that's the Ferris wheel concept. So they're constantly sort of adjusting on the way up. It's a little unnerving for the first time.
It is. I
visitors.
remember I was probably like, I don't know, 6 or something. And I definitely remember thinking, this is very weird
Yes.
to be in there.
Well, and it did, I feel like, give rise to a lot of either urban legends or just this myth. Every St. Louis kid has the story of, oh man, you're gonna get stuck in the arch.
Yeah.
Like you grew up knowing at some point in your life.
And you have to walk down those stairs all the way down.
Yes, in the same way that you get stuck in quicksand, and that never happened. In my head as a kid, what if you got stuck in the arch? And my friend knew somebody who got stuck in the arch. I'm not really sure that ever did happen.
Has it ever happened where people have had to walk down the stairs?
I think there has been an occasion or so where things shut down. So,
oh boy.
Yeah, but yeah. As a matter of fact, at a book signing at the Arch store, I met a gentleman who came up and said he actually was allowed to walk up as a young boy, walk up the leg of the arch, and I had never heard of such a thing. But it was fascinating.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
What about the reception of the arch once it was completed? Did people come from all over the country, all over the world to see it?
Absolutely. This is an iconic structure and worldwide known and admired, greatly admired. So with 2 to 3 million visitors a year, I think that speaks for itself. People love to come here and see this amazing structure and experience it. And the other thing I would say is people are instinctively just drawn to it. If you sit back and watch visitors, inevitably they'll walk up to the leg and they'll touch the stainless steel.
Oh, yeah.
They'll feel that sharp corner of it, and just be part of it. So.
It really is amazing. And I know that I lived out of town for a long time, and occasionally somebody would say, what is that? What's that for? What's the whole why? Why is it an arch? And I wonder how many people here don't really know what it actually represents.
Yeah, it is a monument to Thomas Jefferson and the westward expansion of the country. And Eero Saarinen reasoned that he had great vision and that this monument should not be something solid and static, but open and dynamic and visionary, just like Jefferson. And so it really is a testimony to the westward growth of the country and goes back to the Louisiana Purchase of 1803.
What would you say are maybe is a most surprising fact about the arch? Something that St. Louisans who feel like, oh yeah, I've been to the arch, I've taken tourists, I know everything. What would they be surprised to learn?
I just said they don't even know what it's about. And you're saying, oh, I know everything about it.
Well,
I said longtime St. Louisans.
Well, well, here's an interesting.
You're from Granite City.
I can see it from my house.
Well, you take it for granted.
Okay.
I've never
Well,
been to
John,
Cahokia Mountain. So.
Here's an interesting thought for you regarding a surprise. If you know the mansion house apartment towers downtown, you know that they are 3 towers that are 27 stories each. Originally in 1959, the developer proposed 2 40-story towers, and that got everybody's attention. And so the city of St. Louis looked at that, and Eero Saarinen was concerned. He said, it's going to, sort of compete with the arch at 590 feet in height. And so what happened was the city imposed a height limit for new buildings around the arch to 27 stories, about 275 feet or so. And so the developer, Louis Kitchen, said, okay, I'll build 3 towers instead of 2. I'll do 3 at 27. And Eero Saarinen said, okay, I'm going to take the arch from 590 to 630 feet in height. So in an interesting, surprising way, each building interacted with the other and influenced the other. So I think that might be a surprise that St. Louisans might find interesting.
Absolutely.
Is it the tallest structure? Or I thought the Eagleton building might have been taller, or might be, right? No?
No.
Okay. This is it, right?
Yes.
What an idiot.
Oh, you didn't know. Acting like you know how tall buildings are in St. Louis.
I do, because I worked with Charlie Brennan.
Is that still the ordinance where it nothing can be taller than the arch?
Yeah, I think everybody trying to be deferential to the Gateway Arch, and the closer you are to the arch, the lower, the shorter the tower.
Because I know that's the ordinance in D.C., right? Nothing can be taller than the monument.
Right.
They
have a even more restrictive height limit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amy,
which has I think a very positive effect in that it spreads out the buildings to fill out the blocks. If you have one very large tower, it may take up all the potential for future development and urban development by one tower instead of a series of low buildings. So I actually think it's a positive thing.
Have you had the opportunity to explore parts of the arch that the rest of us don't get to see?
No, I've only been able to study it through the various historical photographs and things of that nature. So I've really seen it as other citizens have seen it and admired it. But I will tell you, when you look at the construction photographs in the book, it kind of makes your toes tingle a little bit. The height of the structure, the workers were not tied off. Not the OSHA requirements would have you tied off today. But they were not tied off and did not want to be tied off because they felt it would be encumbering them. And so you see photos of workmen walking around on top of the arch and grinding the weld joints on the sides of the arch and so on. It's pretty remarkable. And it's a testimony to their skill and safety. In fact, they thought they might lose about 13 workmen on this project, but nobody died.
Nobody.
Very safe. Very
that
safe.
was going to be my last question.
Yeah, very safe. Yeah.
Didn't somebody die by trying to parachute onto it?
Did.
Yeah, sadly. Yeah. They landed and they were going to release the chute, but the chute never came out. So,
he slid down the leg, right? Oh.
Yes.
That's a way to go. Anyway, sorry to make it depressing. The book
But we do want to
awesome,
know the
though.
book is great, and Mother's Day and Father's Day are coming up. And I feel like those are difficult holidays for finding gifts. So where can people find your book?
Well, it's available at the Arch store. It's available through Reedy Press. It's available through Amazon, Missouri History Museum, Left Bank Books, and many other outlets. So it's out there. So I hope people take note of it.
Well, we did for sure. John, we appreciate you coming in. John Gunther is the author of The Gateway Arch, an illustrated timeline. Again, multiple places you can get it. And if you visit the Arch, it's there in their gift shop. So, John, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor.
An honor. That was so nice. When we come back, we will talk about, I guess, middle school. Is 8th grade considered middle school?
Junior high?
Well, some people it's middle school. Some people it's junior high.
How do we not know this? I think they're interchangeable.
Maybe our civics test scores aren't very good, but apparently they're not.
No.
And we will discuss that when we come back. Amy Marks Korsen, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
We go where you go. 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When children were being fatally injured by window blind cords, Honor Law took on the manufacturers to have dangerous cords banned.
Call Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9 million.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-924-7415. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-924-7415. 800-924-7415. 800-924-7415.
What a beautiful spring. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma from Gamma Tree Experts. Your property value is as much about your landscape as it is your home. The trees and shrubs that grow along with you and your family are valuable assets that deserve care and protection. Call our team of certified arborists to inspect your valuable trees and shrubs today. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, fertilization, or removal, call today at 725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
The Biz Dash is St. Louis's healthiest happy hour. Combining fitness and fun, it's a perfect team bonding activity for any size business. All levels of runners and walkers are welcome. Join us this spring at City Park, the home of St. Louis City SC. With food, music, drinks, and more, the Biz Dash is the ultimate office party. Thursday, May 25th at City Park in downtown St. Louis. Create your company team today at stlbizdash.com. That's stlbizdash.com.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at ThrottleNet. So I'm so very proud to have represented the guys at ThrottleNet for all of these years. They are the IT geniuses. George and Mike are the owners. Fantastic guys. They can do all of your IT. They can do a portion of your IT. They have the best Apple support team. Their response time is under 2 minutes. Think about that, under 2 minutes. Something goes sideways with your IT, and they are solving your problem. And they're solving your problem within 2 minutes. Now, let's talk about cybersecurity. Most companies in St. Louis don't have cyber liability insurance. You get hit, you're on the hook, you're probably out of business. With ThrottleNet, if we represent you, we protect you. The first $500,000 that someone hits you for, which isn't going to happen, but if it does, we pay it. $500,000. That's what you're covered for with ThrottleNet. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS for all the information.
Carol Daniel for the Beam Central Vacuum System, giving you convenience, power, and clean air in your home. I know all this time we have spent at home the last couple of years left us looking at our homes a bit differently. Maybe you got work done, bought new furniture, but did you clear the air? You can with the Beam built-in vacuum system. So easy to use. The power unit is built in, so no more lugging of the heavy unit from room to room. You just plug the hose into the wall and go. The Beam is more powerful than an ordinary vacuum, and more power means it sucks more dirt out of your house or condo. And if you have dust-related allergies, you do need a Beam. Research shows use of a central vacuum system improves indoor air quality by over 50%. We're spending more time at home. Maybe you're even working remotely. Clear the air with the easy to install and easy to use Beam Central Vacuum System. Beam Central Vacuum System owners in the St. Louis region call it Beam Clean because no other vacuum can do what a Beam does. And you can learn more and get your Beam installed at beamstl.com. That's beamstl.com.
Beam's home sale is starting early. Every system for every size home now on sale.
KMOX, the 2023 Large Market Radio Station of the Year, recognized by the Missouri Broadcasters Association. KMOX, we were built for this.
Chris and Amy on KMOX. Nice discussion with John Gunther about the Arch book, the book about the Gateway Arch
and the
illustrated
history
timeline.
The history of the Arch.
Yeah.
Do you know who could probably benefit from this book?
History.
From
Eighth
history?
graders.
Yeah, that's right. So this is actually very concerning, very serious. Eighth graders' test scores in U.S. history and civics fell to the lowest levels on record last year. This is according to new data released by the Education Department last week. So in the first release of U.S. history and civics scores since the pandemic, the National Assessment of Education Progress, which is known as the nation's report card, it showed that students' knowledge in history, U.S. history, and civics reversed gains that had been made since the 1990s. Only 13% of eighth graders met proficiency standards for U.S. history.
And I'm assuming this is about the pandemic.
Well, not just the pandemic. There was already a decline in test scores, but the pandemic accelerated that to historic levels.
Well, this is probably not good.
Yeah.
It seems to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's more anti-teacher, anti-public education sentiment now than there was 15, 20 years ago, which doesn't really make sense to me because I would think that we would want to invest in education as much as possible. We would want an educated populace. We want kids to grow up to be smart because smart people figure out problems. They figure out and have solutions to major problems. So why would we not want more people like that here? So I feel like at least some of this has to be that anti-education sentiment that exists. And there does exist that it's a true thing. It happens now.
I think there was a lot of pushback too with the shutdowns, with the school shutdowns. This was not necessarily individual teachers, but some of the teachers' unions were more reluctant to reopen schools, even as we know that a lack of in-person schooling only exacerbates the education gap because parents who have the means to homeschool, who had the financial means to hire tutors, their kids could hang on through the pandemic.
But this was a
lower
problem
income
before
family,
the pandemic.
It was, and this was accelerated. Lower
Right.
income families struggled, and that gap was just wider. Also, the lowest math scores as well, a drop in math scores. So struggling.
That was my problem in eighth
Oh,
grade.
he's
That's when
struggles
math
with
got, that's when it got really bad for me.
Multiplication.
Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji. Matt Pauley will talk Cardinals. We'll give you the birds next on KMOX.
Following the Dave Glover Show at 5 o'clock, it's Total Information PM. Hey, I'm Michael Calhoun. Check in with Kevin Wheeler and me for the latest news and information. Roger covers your commute. Dave Murray's got the forecast. Matt Pauley has sports. We'll take deep dives on local issues and help you be a smarter consumer. At 5:30, the CBS Evening News helps you understand what's happening around the country and the world. Total Information PM at 5 o'clock, right after Dave Glover on the trusted voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
The check engine light is on in Washington, but politicians keep driving the cars if nothing is happening. There it is again. It's Social Security. A new government report says the Social Security Trust Fund is projected to run out by the year 2035. If that happens, it would cause all beneficiaries to take more than a 20% cut to their benefits. What does that mean for you? When should you start taking benefits? And how can you get every dollar of Social Security you're entitled to? The team at Heisey Advisory Group has been helping families optimize their Social Security benefits for over 17 years, and they can do the same for you. Give them a call, 314-328-4400 to schedule your visit with one of the advisors at Heisey Advisory Group. Again, that's 314-328-4400.
Our firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government. Investment advisory products and services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, and SEC-registered investment advisors. Security products and services made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. AEFS and Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC are not affiliated.
Hi, it's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000, 12990 Manchester Road, just a half mile west of 270. I was there this year for my annual eye health examination, and I'm so happy that I did. Not only is my vision in good shape, but now I have peace of mind that I have good health. You see, an eye health examination can detect many health issues like diabetes or high blood pressure. So it's nice to know that they were able to check me over. Also, it was covered by my medical insurance, and I did not realize that the first time that I went for an annual eye exam. So that's terrific. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer Very thankful for them. Ophthalmology Associates, the doctors, 314-966-5000. You should also schedule your eye exam and reach out to them. And when you do, tell them that Tom Ackerman sent you to Ophthalmology Associates. Also online at youridoc.com.
At 11:30, we've got some rain and 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. And there is rain spreading across the St. Louis metro right now. The heaviest pockets are in the line from Chesterfield, Clarkson Valley, Wildwood through Baldwin, Town and Country, Twin Oaks, Sunset Hills, Concord, Melville, Oakville, into Columbia, Illinois, down to Waterloo. It looks to be just rain at this point. The producer price index rose by 0.2% in April from March. The Labor Department said 80% of the increase in producer prices is because of higher services prices. More about the Labor Department's new report from CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Supplier prices were up by 2.3% in April from a year ago. That's down from the 2.7% recorded in the previous month. And it's also the slowest pace since January of 2021.
It's considered a drastic but necessary step by the U.S. Justice Department. CBS News correspondent Jim Krasula explains.
A court order has allowed federal authorities to seize a dozen web domains used by Lebanon's Hezbollah and its associates. The domains include 3 used by a Lebanese television channel affiliated with Hezbollah, a Lebanese political party, and militant group.
Taking a look at the roads. We do have rain again moving across the area, so watch out for wet conditions according to the National Weather Service. There's a one-vehicle crash on 44 West before Lewis Road. The right lane is closed, and some road work to watch out for on 270 West at New Florissant. The left lane is closed there. And a look at the forecast for this afternoon. Not as warm, a little cloudy, maybe a shower thunderstorm on a few occasions with a high 77. A couple of showers tonight, low 67. Tomorrow's high 83. Sponsored by Mers Goodwill. Donate your vehicle today to Mers Goodwill and get 4 field box tickets to a 2023 Cardinals game. It's easy and towing is free. Donate online at mersgoodwill.org. Use promo code Cardinals. Give hope, give local, give Goodwill. 73 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underline Tree Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Manor Grove has been caring for seniors for over a century. Everyone at Manor Grove is treated like family, and that's exactly how our residents should feel, like family. Our staff strives to make Manor Grove feel like home. Be assured, your loved one will be well taken care of at Manor Grove. The entire Manor Grove team views everyone inside as family and looks forward to seeing residents and coworkers every day. See for yourself at manorgrove.com and take our virtual tour. Welcome home to Manor Grove.
Find out what's happening with your Redbirds from the manager himself, Oliver Marmol. Sunday mornings at 10:15 on Sports on a Sunday morning, and Wednesday mornings at 9:50. The Ollie Marmol Show on Cardinals Radio, KMOX.
Hi, I'm Paul Goldschmidt.
I'm Cardinals outfielder Lars Nootbaar.
I'm Woodson Contreras. I'm Paul DeYoung.
Now, Chris and Amy give you the birds.
I'm Jordan Hicks, and you're listening to the show on KMOX.
Keegan Thompson, his 23rd pitch of the 9th inning. Arenado gets under this one, sending it high in the air. Short right center field. The second baseman goes out and makes the catch. Madrigal puts it away, and this ball game has come to an end. And the Cubs salvage a game in the 3-game series. The final score, 10-4.
Well, the winning streak came to an end for the Cardinals last night. You heard it here on KMOX and the Odyssey app. We are joined now by our sports fella with us every Monday and Thursday as we talk Cardinals with you. Matt Pauley is on the show. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
What did you do to them? Why did they lose?
Clearly, my fault. I had the wrong thing for lunch yesterday.
As things are.
Well, I will just say this. The bright side of the Cardinals struggling as they are, not being as much fun to talk about as they could be, is that Matt Pauley has worst customer service luck of anyone I've ever met.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a little bit because Matt does. I've never seen
anything like it.
Anything like it in my whole life.
And it's surprising because if you had to peg somebody as the guy that would always have customer service issues, it wouldn't be Matt Pauley. He's so nice.
Yeah, he is. Well, and we'll get to that in a moment here. I want to start with the Cardinals game last night and the outcome of what happened last night. And it's very difficult, by the way, Matt, to look at the performance by Jordan Montgomery to know that one of the reasons, and I know it's just one game, but one of the reasons, or the main reason, that Wilson Contreras was removed from the position of catcher was because they, generally speaking, wanted him to do a better job of calling the game. Last night wasn't about game calling, was it?
No, it wasn't. His changeup wasn't working, so he was working with less pitches than normal. That was kind of the big issue that was identified after the game. He threw his changeup for less than half of his changeups he threw for last night, went for strikes, and that's a pitch that you generally throw for a strike, a pretty high percentage amount, and he didn't get a single swing and miss on the changeup either. I do think it's worth noting, and it's a tiny sample size, but I do think it's worth noting that pitchers' ERA overall, starters' ERA, and relief ERA have all gone up since Andrew Knizner has taken over as the starting catcher.
This Cardinals report is brought to you by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. What happened last night, in particular, the pitch to Wisdom, that is one of those examples that I was talking about when the Contreras decision was made. Everybody's talking about pitch selection, calling the wrong pitches, whatever. We're not spending enough time talking about execution of pitches because there were a number of times. In fact, there was the one that we discussed earlier, and now it escapes me. It might have been Giovanni Gallegos. I think it was the 4 sliders in a row, and the fourth one, he missed by 1.5 feet or 2 feet, and it got crushed. And we're talking like, I can't believe he called for a slider there. Well, how about we execute the pitch? Because last night, that's exactly what happened on the Wisdom at bat. He missed by a foot or more.
Yeah, so in that situation, I think both things can be true. Perfect world, you're not throwing 4 straight sliders, but you can throw 4 straight sliders, and if you are throwing them exactly where they're supposed to be, it's going to be fine. We don't spend we think there's some mystical thing about what pitch you're calling. Pitchers generally have multiple pitches that they can be effective with. Locate those pitches, and you're fine. That's been the number one issue with pitching, and I think you can go sit there, watch game after game after game, and whether it's Wilson Contreras or whether it's Andrew Knizner, look at where the catcher is set up and how often is that catcher significantly moving his glove to another position, and that's on the pitcher. That's not on the catcher. Hit your spots and everything's going to work out.
Well, it's tough to have a winning streak, too, if the rotation is struggling, can't get through more than a handful of innings, or if they do, they're giving up 6, 7 or more runs.
Yeah, this was I think I saw Derek Gould tweet this. This is the first time this season that they've gone a full time through rotation, so 5 times through, and not a single pitcher through more than 5 innings. That's not good. Then, and that hurts you in multiple ways. First off, your starting pitcher isn't giving you what you need. Your bullpen is just getting exhausted. That's way too many innings on your bullpen. It really exponentially has a negative impact on your team.
Matt, give us some, if there is any right now, other than the division not being particularly good, which does leave a door cracked, give us some good news about this team that might make you think there's a good possibility sometime in the next few weeks they could turn things around.
Talent wins out, and they're still the most talented team in the NL Central. And I know you said other than this division stinks, but that's the thing here. They are still the most talented team in the NL Central. So when you do the math, like I get it. You're what, 8 games back or whatever it is. That doesn't look good when we're talking here on May 11th. But the bottom line is it's not going to be that challenging if you just play to your talent level to knock down a game or so from those other teams once a week, once every other week. And if you do that, you're in perfectly fine shape. So I'm not overly concerned because I think that this team from a talent standpoint can win one more game every 2 weeks than all the other teams in the division.
Cardinals are right now 13-25. They are 8 games back. This is what I mean by division, because if you throw them into the American League East, just for example, the New York Yankees are also 8 games out of first place. They're in last place in their division. Their record is 21-17.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
They are 4 games over 500 and they're 8 games out of first. That's how good that division is. So the Cardinals are very fortunate to be where they are.
Incredibly fortunate because there's not any. I think maybe we overvalued the Cardinals a little bit coming into the season. I just said the talent is better. I believe the talent is better, but the talent might not be as good as we thought it was when the season got started. That being said, the rest of the division just flat out stinks.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. That's such an important idea because my issue going into the season was, and really it's kind of been this way for the last few years. I know the COVID year, I don't really count it all that much, and it set things back considerably. But even going back to years prior to that, this has always been a good team, probably the best team in the division, if it's not the Brewers, for the last several years after the Cubs World Series year. This has been the best team in the division, top 1 or 2, but it's not about being good against the division for me. For me, it's about being good against the other teams in the National League you have to worry about. That's what the goal should be. To me, it shouldn't just be, well, be better than the Brewers and you'll be all right. It should be, let's get as close to what the Braves or the Phillies or the Dodgers, let's get next to those teams because that's who you're really competing with.
Yeah, I said that all off season long. I think it has shifted now because now since you're in this big hole, it is about being better than the Brewers and being better than the Pirates and being better than the Cubs because you got to do whatever you can do to find your way into the playoffs. So once again, just being better than the other teams in the division has taken an added importance. But if this season would have started the way we expected it to go, if they were in first place, if they had control of the division, all the things that people like me were very confident of when the season got started, if that was the case, then what you just said, Ron, is 100% correct. The focus needs to change to how do you go beat the Braves in a series? How do you beat the Mets in a series? How do you beat the Dodgers in a series?
All right. Well, now I want to hear the customer service story.
Amy.
All right. So I've got two.
I
so
listened
we'll
to the Cardinal stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's very exciting.
I listened to the I'm sorry. We subjected you to the Cardinals.
I love the Cardinals. I just wish they were playing better. I agree with everything you said. What happened? What happened,
Okay,
Matt?
so
here
we've got two. We'll do one today. We'll do one on Monday.
hold on.
You can choose.
You're holding out?
Yep, holding out. I'll
holding
let you guys choose. Do you want bank or car rental?
Where are you going? I'm going to pick a fight.
I don't know, wherever the best fight is, I guess.
Yeah, where's the best fight? Car rental.
No,
Let's go
you got-
car rental.
Car rental. Okay. So I was obviously in Jupiter for a month plus during spring training, and I rented a car. And it should be noted, I rented a car from not one of the wonderful St. Louis companies that is a car rental company. It was another one. I was
This
watching.
never would have happened at Enterprise.
No, never would have happened at Enterprise. Never would have happened at Alamo. What are the other ones that Enterprise owns? Enterprise, Alamo. Hertz, is Hertz on that group?
I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyways, we were on a budget, so I went with a different car company.
Was it
if you know
called
what I'm
Budget?
saying.
Was it called budget?
I can't say. I'm just saying we were on a budget, and
In a budget or
On a budget, in a budget.
I've got the car for a month. So I've got the car for a
What's your
month.
most
I
expensive
return it
car?
at like
It's well, they're all budget. Anyway, go ahead.
Sorry.
return
okay.
the car. It's like 4:30 in the morning. Return it at the Fort Lauderdale
Oh.
Airport. The guy comes around, checks and everything. About 2 weeks ago, so we're over a month since I returned the car.
Okay.
I get a letter from said car rental company that says, "This is your second notice," which it wasn't. It was very much the first notice. Your car had windshield damage, and we are charging you $1,000.
$1,000?
Wow.
$1,000.
It took them a month.
Whoa. Yeah, it took over a month.
Wow.
So I immediately go to my credit card app because I want to turn off my credit card so they can't run it, and I'm too late. $1,000 has been taken off my credit card.
Damn.
So
Oh my
I
gosh.
call them up, and I sit on hold, and then we do the whole name, car rental, confirmation number, email address, last 4 digits of social, yada yada yada. Tell them what's going on. They put me on hold. I'm on hold again for like another 3-4 minutes. Then the music just stops. I was cut off. So I call again, do the whole thing, sit on hold, talk to them, answer all the exact same questions. They put me on hold. This time they come back. They start talking, and in the middle of them talking, boom, they cut off. So I've now been cut off twice. So at this point, I'm clearly very, very frustrated. So I call a third time, hold. Finally, somebody comes. I'm agitated. I answer like all the questions at once. I don't let them ask the questions, and I tell them what's going on. They put me on hold. They come back and they said, yeah, so you had damage. And I say to them, I'm going to need time-stamped photos showing me the damage on this car. And they say, we don't have to provide that to you. And they say, all we need to do is provide you confirmation of how much we spent to fix the damage, which $1,000 for windshield damage seems a little bit much, but what do I know? And I said to them, I go, are you kidding me? Like, somebody could walk to the car after I drop it off with a hammer and start destroying the car, and I'm going to get charged for that because you don't have, because I was the last one to have it.
Hey, that's the kind of thing you would do if you weren't happy.
Clearly,
with your
in Fort
experience.
Lauderdale, there's people running around car rental lots with hammers, taking out the windshields.
It is
so
Florida.
I raised my voice a little bit with them. I was very, very agitated at this point in time. And
Can you do the voice?
To their
Yeah. How? What
Can
did
you do
it sound like?
Do it now.
Do the I'm mad at you customer service people voice.
This is going to be like Seinfeld trying to yell. There's a one episode where he like tries to
Just
explain,
do
but
it.
it doesn't go well.
Just do
I
it.
don't know. I
Okay,
can't.
I'll be the guy. Mr. Pauly, you owe $1,000. We've already charged your credit card because you damaged the windshield of this car.
All right, so let me get this straight. I get the car. I bring it back. It's checked at 4 a.m. Your person goes around and looks at it. I've got the text message right here that says it was returned. Somebody could have walked into the garage with a hammer and decided to take out the windshield, and you're going to charge me $1,000 for that? I think that's about as good as I can get here.
That just sounds like you're promoting the pregame show, which starts at 5:50 on KMOX. That didn't sound like voice raising.
I don't know. I can't. It has to be real, right? I'm not an actor here. Make me angry.
It was
Anyways.
it was emotional, but yet pretty friendly.
Yes.
Okay.
Well.
Anyway, so then what happened?
Well, to their credit, like it's an anticlimactic ending. To their credit, they refunded the $1,000.
So what happened was you just got your money back.
Yeah, I got my money.
yeah,
back.
but
I had to do all that.
$1,000 being charged is a lot.
Yeah, I thought about because I missed it for like 3 or 4 days, so I got charged interest for 3 or 4 days on that $1,000.
Awesome. Well,
they owe me like another $7.22.
Oh,
You should
do
send them a
not
bill.
let that go.
Tell them it's their second
Do
notice.
not let that go. I would stay on that $7.50 for the rest of my life if I were you, just out of principle,
Out of spite.
out of spite.
I love you, Matt.
I do too.
These
I
are
love
great
Matt Pauley.
stories. I can't wait till Monday. Everybody needs to tune in Monday to see what his other customer service story.
The bank
Kerfuffle.
story, which
Oh, man.
is still going, by the way. This one had an ending. My bank
awesome.
story doesn't have an ending yet.
Oh, well, I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's only Thursday. Who knows what could happen? This
Yep.
could escalate.
What's on Sports Open line tonight? No Cardinals. So what's the deal tonight?
Yeah, full 2 hours. A lot of Cardinal stuff. We've got a handful of guests that are going to be on. Your guy, Kevin Wheeler, is going to make an appearance tonight.
Oh man, we got to talk to him. Like
He is the worst.
the worst.
Have you guys renamed the show yet?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Chris and Amy.
Chris and Amy.
Pretty clever, huh?
Yeah. He goes, okay.
You got any better
I
ideas?
mean, the Twitter account still says the show.
I know, because we haven't done the whole thing
Yeah.
yet.
Your okay was like, it's the second best okay that Ron has gotten because we ran into Stuart McMillan and his family. And
Yeah, his young son.
it was his birthday.
Yep. And I said, happy birthday to the kid. He's like, okay. Like that. Just okay.
Happy
He totally
birthday,
dismissed
son.
me.
Okay.
Did he tell you you're better than that?
No. Texter did though. And I assure you, Texter, I am not.
There's nothing makes you feel smaller than when a kid just owns you. There's no coming back from that.
Well.
Happy birthday. Okay.
That's how I feel every day with Andrew. Like just a kid is owning me. Like, all right, kid.
All right.
That's enough. All right, Matt Pauley, Sports Open line 6 to 8 tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Talk to you on Monday.
We got a text message, Amy, from
Yeah.
the 314. You're welcome to text the show, 314-436-7900. This one,
Mhm.
I love your show and watch every day. But Ranji, I can't hardly get past your "aw" in the show promo. I didn't know that was running. I guess it's running during Cardinals.
It's so good.
Is that when you say, I respect you,
And
and,
you
I go, oh.
Yeah, you go, I respect you. And I reply, I respect you too. Aw.
I heard it coming into work today.
Really?
Yeah, it was on the morning show.
Does it sound stupid?
Of course.
In the best way possible.
Does it sound stupid in the best way possible?
Yes.
Chris, I think you can do better than that.
Damn.
I
Don't
bet-
say that, Dave.
I bet
I might
for
have to kill
people-
Dave during the break.
For people who don't know you, maybe they think this guy is a sensitive dude.
Right.
Aw.
I am. I care about people.
I respect you, Ranj.
I care about people and you, Amy. That's Amy Marks Cores. I'm Chris Ranji.
Aw.
Back in a moment on the show.
How's your mental health? I'm listening with Luke Combs.
I am somebody who has struggled with anxiety a lot. A couple ways or tools, I guess you would say, to maintain my mental health is making myself aware to the things that I know I'm prone to. Information is key for things like that, and knowing what you're dealing with and how they operate. Being aware of the way your mind works in certain situations has been the most important thing for me.
More at imlistening.org.
Sponsored by Compass Health Network. Inspire hope. Promote wellness.
Hello Garage elevates your garage, adding additional entertainment space for graduation parties or other summer get-togethers you have planned. In as little as 48 hours, get organized and start planning that party. Visit them online at hellogarage.com.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now. 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Spark St. Louis is the newest collaborative co-working office space located in the PwC Pennant Building at Ballpark Village. Spark supports local entrepreneurs and corporate professionals and features over 80 private offices, day pass options, monthly networking events, conference room, and special event amenities, while offering an innovative approach to city life where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within the neighborhood at Ballpark Village. Schedule your tour today by visiting Spark St. Louis online at spark-stl.com.
Hey guys, Glover here, and I see clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra, and you can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
Amy Marks Cores.
Fabulous.
Chris Ranji.
Unbelievable.
On the show.
That's Amy Marks Cores and Chris Ranji. Oh boy.
What a great person Matt Pauley is.
Yeah, Matt Pauley was just raising his voice at us.
Talent wins out, and they're still the most talented team in the NL Central. And I know you said other than
that's not it. There was a thing where he was yelling.
Yeah.
I don't know what
About
happened
the
to
customer service.
it. Allegedly, is
You're
this it?
telling me.
But the bottom line is
no, that's not it.
That's
He's
not
too
it.
calm.
Yeah.
He was yelling.
At
We
the-
asked
yeah.
him to replay or to recreate the scene,
Mhm.
and the texter says that Matt sounds like Ben Affleck and Jerry Seinfeld had a kid. I guess, kind of when he's raising his voice.
Oh,
I don't know.
I wish we could hear
Oh wait,
that.
hold on. Here we go.
all right. So let me get this straight. I get the car. I bring it back. It's checked at 4 a.m. Your person goes around and looks at it. I've got the text message right here that says it was returned. Somebody could have walked into the garage with a hammer.
So, I guess a little bit. Ben Affleck, Jerry Seinfeld.
I can hear it a little bit.
The Seinfeld episode where he goes to the car dealership or the
Mhm.
rental place, and they don't have a car waiting for him, is a terrific exchange. It's
I
such
understand
a good
what a
exchange.
reservation is.
I don't think you do. Such a simple. If you did, I'd have a car.
That's such a great scene.
It really is.
Yeah.
Why does stuff keep happening to Matt?
That's what I'm saying. He's such a nice guy. He's the gentle giant. He's pretty tall, 6'6", 6'5".
He's like 6'5".
Yeah.
6'4", 6'5".
Yeah. How tall are you?
Maybe 6'3". I'm 6'2".
Oh, I think he's 6'4" then.
Okay. Well, he's a big dude,
Yeah.
and
But he's
always something
friendly.
happens.
But
to
he's
him.
always friendly. And then customer service. He is like a Jekyll and Hyde.
See, you're an awkward, friendly person, Amy. Do you get a lot of things happen to you,
I just
customer service wise?
not customer service wise, just like I went to a party at my friend Megan's house and in the backyard. So there's a gate. Everyone else enters through the gate. I show up maybe 10 minutes later, enter through the gate, and the lock falls off the gate. I break the gate. I can't open the door. She doesn't know how I broke the lock. That type of thing happens to me all the time.
Awkward, clumsy stuff.
Yes. Like,
Yeah.
like I heard this clink, clink. Like you could hear the metal dropping, and I had to yell into the backyard.
But not like,
Megan, I think I broke your gate.
but it's not like customer service is trying to pull one over on you.
No.
That never happens to you.
No, if customer service tries to pull one over on me, which they don't usually, or if something just goes wrong, my initial reaction is not anger or frustration. I'm not an angry person. I cry.
Well,
I don't mean to, but I cry, and then that
yeah,
makes
you're a
them
big
feel
crier.
bad.
This texter
Yeah.
says your opinions don't matter because you don't want Freeze to go into the Cardinals Hall of Fame and you don't care about baseball.
Aw. I do care about baseball. That's what I care about, the Hall of Fame. I'm a gatekeeper of the Cardinals Hall of Fame.
All right, so let me get this straight.
You don't want David Freeze in the Hall of Fame? That's what Matt Pauley said
Aw.
to you. That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. Final hour of the show is coming up next. Representative Phil Cristofanelli is going to join us from District 105. That's next. Well, not next. Coming up next hour on the show.
If you're thinking about selling your St. Louis area home, you might be a bit overwhelmed by the process, especially in this market. Take it from me, Debbie Monterey. I strongly recommend that you call and spend 5 minutes getting to know Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria understands that you have questions and that selling your home can be stressful. Gloria has mastered the home selling process with her Guaranteed Sold program. It simply states Gloria will sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or Gloria will buy it. So what's Gloria's secret? Gloria already has the buyers. Fact is, your home may already be sold. Let Gloria show you how she nets her sellers more money and how she sells faster on average. Need more proof? Check out Gloria's 5-star reviews and get moving. Call Gloria Liu today at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
We all know how important nutrition is to our health, so why don't we do something about it? With Neovitin Men's 50 Plus, you can give your body sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to support your daily health. Formulated for men over 50, Neovitin Men's 50 Plus gives you B vitamins to support energy and our proprietary physician-formulated blend for daily support you won't find anywhere else. Do something about your health today with Neovitin Men's 50 Plus. Available at your local Schnucks and Deerbergs.
MSD Project Clear encourages residents and businesses to know your zone and protect your property. If it rains where you live, it can flood where you live. Spring weather can bring an increased risk of flooding. Consider your risk and the consequences of a flood event. Make the choice to protect your property. Did you know the average flood damage claim for homeowners and renters exceeds $35,000 in damage? Learn more about how to protect your property at www.knowourzone.org.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A lot of new enrollments, huh? Braylon, Braden.
Monique's daycare is crawling with new arrivals.
Hey, sweetie, are you hungry?
She needs more early childhood educators.
Did your sock slip off again?
And a nap.
There, there, little guy. Okay. Shh. Whoa.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Ray Magliotta here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Awarded 2023 Large Market Radio Station of the Year by the Missouri Broadcasters Association, KMOX.
At 12 noon, we do have some rain that's blowing through. It's 76 degrees downtown at the Arch. Rain right now, heaviest from Ladue, Frontenac, Creve Coeur through Mid-County, Clayton, University City, Richmond Heights, Maplewood to downtown St. Louis, Sauget, Cahokia, Centerville, down to Dupo. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. With 2 days left in the Missouri legislative session, discussion about taking control of the St. Louis City Police Department has stopped. The Speaker of the Missouri House, Dean Plocher, says he's not part of any deal involving the circuit attorney's resignation, which might have caused that to be set aside.
I would love to know. I wasn't part of that deal. We asked for Kim Gardner to resign a long time ago. We want to restore accountability to those that are committing crimes in the city that are hurting the region. We did that in the House. We passed House Bill 301, which was a comprehensive crime package. We also passed the bill out of the House that would have returned the city of police to the state control, which we think would help.
There's opposition to a plan by the Metropolitan Sewer District to expand 2 of its facilities here. KMOX's Kevin Killeen reports.
St. Louis County Councilman Ernie Trachis is fighting MSD's plan to expand its waste burning incinerators at 2 locations in North St. Louis at the Grand Avenue Bissell facility and in South County at the Lemay plant. Trachis warns that these incinerators would be exclusively burning human excrement, filling the air, he warns, with disgusting odors and possibly carcinogenic particles. Trachis is also warning it could mean substantial rate hikes for ratepayers.
MSD says the expanded incinerators will not increase the volume of waste that is burned. The upgrades, MSD says, are required by federal regulators. MSD says there will be a rate hike of an amount to be determined later. Today marks the end of the public health emergency declared for COVID-19, marking a broad swath of changes in store. CBS News reporter Alexander Tin has details.
One of the biggest changes directly tied to the emergency is the end of the requirement that insurance companies cover at-home COVID tests. The CDC will also be getting less data to track spread of the virus, now tying its recommendations entirely to trends in hospitalizations. Other changes not directly tied to the public health emergency have already been underway. For example, thanks to Congress, agencies have been unwinding measures that kept people on Medicaid and boosted food stamp benefits. Vaccines and treatments remain free for now out of the federal stockpile, though that is also expected to go to the regular market later this year.
A panel of FDA advisors unanimously recommended a birth control pill be made available over the counter. If approved, the United States would join more than 100 other countries that offer over-the-counter birth control medication. Washington University OBGYN Dr. Emily Barker at Barnes Jewish Hospital.
This is a pill called O-Pill, which is what we would call a mini pill or a progestin-only pill, meaning it contains just one hormone, which is different from combined hormonal contraceptive pills, which contain both estrogen and a progestin. This is a once daily pill that's on average for the typical user about 93% effective at preventing pregnancy.
A final FDA decision is expected this summer. The KMOX Business Desk, bailouts have a cost.
The Biden administration had said that while the FDIC would cover uninsured depositors at Silicon Valley and Signature banks when they collapsed, it would not be a government bailout. Now the FDIC is sending out the bills, and big banks have found they face billions of dollars in extra fees to restock the FDIC fund used to cover those uninsured deposits. Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's down 249 points to 33,282. And right now we've got a crash on 44 West before Lewis Road. The right lane is closed. Emergency vehicles on 270 South at the exit to Tesson Ferry. The right lane there is closed.
Rather cloudy, humid, and showery, maybe even some thunder on occasion or two this afternoon. Highs in the upper 70s, down the upper 60s, couple of showers and thunderstorms tonight. Then it gets more spotty in terms of the thunder shower activity tomorrow and Saturday. Low to mid 80s tomorrow. Saturday could get to near 90. Mid-80s with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm on Mother's Day. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by the Flat Roof Company. Quality workmanship at a competitive price. If you have leaks in your commercial or industrial flat roof, there is only one company to call, the Flat Roof Company, because they have a great reputation and provide excellent service at great prices. Call the Flat Roof Company at 314-995-2700. Flat roofs are all they do. Right now, rain 76 in Florissant, 76 St. Peter's, 76 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by the Cardinals. Cardinal tickets for 2023 are on sale now and start at just $6. Info at cardinals.com. Time to rewind the show. This is the show recap.
We started off the show talking about the town hall last night on CNN.
Can I ask you, given your recounting
I
your
don't know
version?
who, and I tell you this.
But Mr.
Are
President,
you ready?
can I
and I
can I
swear
ask
on
you
my
because
children, which I'd never do. I have no idea who this woman. This is a fake story, made up story. We had a horrible Clinton appointed judge. He was horrible. He allowed her to put everything in. He allowed us to put nothing in.
Mr. President,
this is a
you're
fake
recounting your version
story.
of events here.
Well, it was an interesting night last night on CNN. I don't know, man. I know we kind of waver on this, and I certainly waver, and I wish I had a stronger take one way or another.
Mhm.
I would particularly, I'd prefer to not have to have Trump town hall stuff. But also, he's going to be their nominee. In all likelihood, you can't just completely ignore the guy. However, I don't know if this clip we have from Major Garrett here is going to say what I'm thinking, but it's something he mentioned. And that is, if you're going to do these debates, these town halls, these sorts of things, no crowd. I don't want candidates to play off a crowd. And that goes for Democrats. It goes for Republicans. I don't care who it is. Obama, the great orator. I don't want debates to have punchlines where the only purpose is to get a reaction from the crowd, or town hall. I mean, a town hall is you're supposed to take questions from the crowd, but I don't need all of that. I don't need rallies. And especially when it comes to talking about policies and issues and things that are important to us, important to Americans, I don't need that to be a TV show. I need it to be boring. That's what I want. And companies like CNN, their driving force is to get people to watch. That's all they care about. And that is a failure for Americans. It's not a failure for the business of CNN, because I'm sure they had a lot of people watch, so they benefited in the short term. But I don't think it's good for us long term as a country.
Yeah. Well, did you have the clip from Major Garrett?
I don't know if it's this one, but we did talk to Major Garrett about this.
The two things that you just heard former President Trump say about the Constitution are fundamentally incorrect. So you can believe that he cherishes that document, but to believe that he cherishes it, you must therefore believe he cherishes a misunderstanding of it. To my belief, if you cherish the Constitution, you know what it says. And if you don't know what it says, you are not cherishing it.
So that was in response to exactly what it sounded like.
Yes.
Whether or
Well-
not the elections were correct, and if they were,
Yes, and him continuing to push the rigged election
Right.
lie. And I had asked Major Garrett about the ethics of hosting a town hall. You can't ignore the front runner and the GOP nominee for president in 2024, also giving Trump a town hall where he could do what he does best, which is steamroll moderators and get a reaction from the crowd. Is that responsible? Is that necessary? Major Garrett proposed one route CNN could have taken was saying, we would like to do an hour town hall with you. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to get questions early from people in the area, from Republican voters. We'll ask you the questions in a studio, one-on-one. Caitlin Collins, Donald Trump, no audience, quiet studio. That would have been one way to have the town hall, hear his answers without having the entire show that it became. Because Trump is really, really good at steamrolling, moderators hijacking the conversation and throwing so many disconnected, bizarre, or untrue statements out at one time. It's impossible to keep track.
Yeah, and
in the moment for the moderator.
To me, I know that you're never going to convince a major network to not always try to get as many people as possible to watch their product. That's why they exist. I'm looking at it from an ideal perspective because I care about our democracy, and I think we should be more policy-minded instead of more with the way we vote, because I think a lot of people vote with their hearts. And a candidate might make them feel good. They say the right things or they get them fired up, and that's how they vote. We should be voting on policy. And I know that's an idealistic way to look at it, and I get it. We're never going to be there. But I would absolutely prefer if in these kinds of programs, and I don't care if it's a Republican forum or if it's a Democratic one, it doesn't matter to me. There should be no television presentation product. They shouldn't be emotional. I wish we would get away from that, but I don't think we're ever going to. This is just how it is. We also visited with John Gunther, who has written a book, The Gateway Arch, an illustrated timeline, which you can get on the Arch grounds at the Jefferson Memorial Expansion and Monument. And you can get them at Left Bank Books, all kinds of places, Reedy Press. And we talked to Gunther about the construction of the Arch.
There was a wide range of submissions, and it was a national competition. And so they received entries from all over the country of all types, very sculptural earthworks, if you will, revisions to the land, to the levee, traditional looking buildings, columns, you name it, a wide range of designs. And so Eero Saarinen's arch stood out head and shoulders above everything else.
I like our arch. I like the arch. I know that I say this because that's what we've grown up with. That's what we have. And it's difficult to imagine anything else being in that place. But
it could have been anything.
It could have been a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It's just weird to think about that. But I like the arch.
It's easy to take it for granted that we see it all the time.
Right.
You see it driving downtown to work, and people from out of town will see it and wow, this is pretty extraordinary. Oh yeah.
This year is the 60th anniversary of the beginning of the construction of the Gateway Arch. A text message talking about what we discussed a moment ago regarding CNN and the town hall said it is not the candidate's fault that CNN decided to do it. And I said, no, it's not. And their response was, I agree, money is the great seducer, which it is. I mean, CNN was trying to cash in on that, and they probably did. I'd like to know monetarily how it affected them, but I'm sure that it helped them out quite a bit.
You have to think that the ratings were high, because if there weren't real consequences to Donald Trump, it's entertaining. It had a very Dr. Phil, Diet Jerry Springer feel about it, because you have a moderator who's trying to do her best, asking questions, and then Trump casting aspersions, personal insults left and right, while a enthralled audience claps and gasps and laughs along with him. It felt like a little bit like a CD talk show, afternoon talk show.
State Representative Phil Cristofanelli is a member of the House Elementary and Secondary Education Committee. Some education reform bills in the legislature, and we're going to talk about those with him when we come back. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji on KMOX.
2 ways to listen to KMOX in your car. 98.7 in the city, 1120 a.m. further out. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jewels on Hampton your first stop. Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
Hi, this is Ken Newbold at Newbold Toyota. If you're worried about gas prices, Toyota has the most models of hybrid electrics in the industry. From the best-selling Camry to the best-selling RAV4, we've got it all. So come see us. That's Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
What a beautiful spring. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma from Gamma Tree Experts. Your property value is as much about your landscape as it is your home. The trees and shrubs that grow along with you and your family are valuable assets that deserve care and protection. Call our team of certified arborists to inspect your valuable trees and shrubs today. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, fertilization, or removal, call today at 725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
It's time for kickoff at the Pitch Athletic Club and Tavern at St. Louis Union Station. Join us this Saturday. The Pitch is the place for soccer fans with food you will cheer for and drinks you will celebrate with. Located in America's first soccer capital of St. Louis and right in City Park, the Pitch is open 7 days a week and open for early matches on the weekends. Bring your team for some match day fun and play hard. Welcome to the Pitch, soccer heaven in St. Louis. Visit our website at thepitch-stl.com.
Diamonds Direct invites you to join us as we celebrate all the moms in our lives. This Mother's Day, we're giving Mom more to say thank you for all she does. With every fashion jewelry purchase of $2,500 or more, we'll give Mom a free customizable diamond initial pendant valued at nearly $800. We've put together an exceptional collection of meaningful gifts for any budget. The perfect heirloom pieces to pass down to the next generation of moms. Birthstone rings, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. This year, she deserves a gift that keeps giving, and at Diamonds Direct, that's our specialty. Timeless gifts of jewelry she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come. Now's a great time to upgrade her diamond studs or pendant with Diamonds Direct's unmatched 110% upgrade. Come let the experts at Diamonds Direct help you find that remarkable gift that says, "Cheers, Mom, for all you do and for who you are." Diamonds Direct. Get locations and store hours at diamondsdirect.com.
Is your bank, brokerage, or your insurance company telling you to buy an annuity? They may have limited access to the best rates available. You need solutions, not someone pitching you a specific product. Call for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233. And also join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio.
Let's be honest, shopping for insurance is a pain in the you-know-what. I'm Zach Gibson, owner of Zachary Gibson Insurance Agency. Let my agency shop for you. As an independent insurance agent, I can shop numerous insurance companies to help design a plan at the best possible price to help you with your home, auto, life, health, and business insurance. Contact me at ZachGibsonInsurance.com. That's ZACGibsonInsurance.com. You can also call 314-210-3649 and let me shop for you.
Nearly a century of informing, entertaining, and serving St. Louis. KMOX.
Chris and Amy on KMOX. Good to have you with us. The Dave Glover Show at 1 o'clock. We'll get started. Amy and I hang out for the crossover hour there until 2 o'clock. We go back to the guest line today. We are joined now by State Representative Phil Cristofanelli, who is out of District 105. A lot of education reform bills are there in the legislature being heard, and that includes some transgender stuff, too, as it pertains to sports, public school athletics, and gender identity. And to talk about that, Phil joins us here on KMOX. Good afternoon, Phil.
Happy to be with you.
All right, let's start with the open enrollment. You are a member of the House Elementary and Secondary Education Committee. and you have sponsored a number of bills. So describe to us the open enrollment and why you believe it's beneficial.
Absolutely. Well, first, let me tell you that education reform is a very difficult issue in the Capitol. There is no lobbying interest that is as strong and entrenched as the public school establishment lobbyists here in the building, and they have a lot of influence over legislatures. And I'll tell you, even though that we have a Republican supermajority, we have far from a conservative supermajority on the issue of education reform. A few years ago, I was the author of the first school choice bill that we've passed in Missouri in over 20 years, and that's the Missouri Empowerment Scholarship Accounts Act. And we got that done with the bare minimum number of legislators necessary, so 82 in the House and 18 in the Senate. And so it was very, very difficult to pass that bill, but we're trying to expand and grow on those successes. The big issue you mentioned this year is open enrollment, which is the ability for students to attend a district other than the one they reside in if that outside district has an opening and wants to accept new students. And that has a number of benefits. First, it empowers parents and kids with choices. And so if they think that a different district is a better fit for their kid based on the programs they offer and the quality of the education there, they can do that. They can make that switch without having to relocate into the district. And so that's good for parents and kids. It's also good for improving our public schools because as a conservative, I believe that competition makes things better. It makes people want to provide a better product at a lower price. And when we have our public schools operating like other market actors and competing to offer a better and more quality education to students and families, we're going to get better outcomes. And I think that's why it's so important.
When you say competing at a better price, what does that mean, and how do public schools do that? Because they rely on funding, and would we not want to fund the public schools better?
Sure. We certainly do want to fund the public schools better, and that's why we have fully funded the state's education formula every year since I've been in the legislature in 2017. And education funding has grown year after year after year. But there should also be incentives for savings for the taxpayer. There should be consolidation in administration where we have inefficiencies. And ultimately, the way that the open enrollment system works is the schools that are performing better get more of the funding because the amount that we spend on a per pupil basis is called the state adequacy target. Those state dollars would follow the children if they leave from one school and go to another school. And so we would have a system that is designed towards funding students and not administrations. And so the schools could compete to attract more students, and as a result, they would have more funding for their schools.
This bill may not have the momentum it needs to pass before the legislative session ends. What are the detractors saying? As you mentioned, it is a Republican legislature here in Missouri, and this issue is dividing people. So what are the detractors saying?
Well, we have the same cast of characters that come out and oppose these type of measures every year, and it's largely the school superintendents, and it's the school board associations, and the teachers unions, and the school administrators, and they all have lobbying operations, and they all work together to kill these bills, and they particularly have influence over rural legislators, and in many rural districts, the public school is the biggest employer. We have over 530 school districts in the state of Missouri, so astronomically more than many other states with far more population than we have. And with each of those school districts comes, a highly paid superintendent and a whole army of folks that work for them. So he has access to jobs and opportunities in those communities, and they try very, very hard to protect the status quo, and anything that disrupts the status quo of the free flow of money from Jefferson City to their public school district without any accountability and any choice for parents and students, that is what they want to keep in place, and they fight us at every turn when we try to disrupt that system.
Well, let me move to gender identity as it pertains to athletics in schools. There have been a number of anti-transgender bills that have passed around the country. It's also happened here in the state of Missouri. Where do you stand on this issue, which has gotten a lot of attention over the last several months?
Sure, I certainly wouldn't fashion it as an anti-transgender bill. There were two pieces of legislation that passed, and I supported both of those on the House floor. Those were Senate Bill 39, Senate Bill 49. Senate Bill 39 says that you have to, if you're going to play in athletic sports, that you're going to play on the team based on your gender that you were, assigned at birth. So your birth gender. And the concern there is really with women's sports, as many people know, men tend to be bigger, stronger, and there's a perceived unfairness when we have people with those physiological advantages competing in female athletics. And so there's been a lot of interest in those bills over the years, and it was passed yesterday, heading towards the governor's desk. There was another measure that also passed that would prohibit gender reassignment surgery for minors. This is a lifelong choice, and we very often restrict, big lifelong decisions to adults. Like we do this with things as minimal as tattoos and when you can smoke. Those are things we reserve for adults, and that's what the bill did. It just made clear that if you're going to embark upon this life-changing decision with consequences, we want to make sure that you have capacity to do so.
You also, but I guess my confusion with it is all of the major medical organizations in the country endorse transgender care, even for younger people, for minors. And the rate of people who regret the treatment they've gone through is very, very low. So why does the state think it knows better than these medical organizations like the American Academy of Pediatrics?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you that this is a very new and burgeoning area of medicine, and I think that the jury is still out on when and where these treatments are appropriate. And so, if you look at countries in Europe, you will find that they are trending in the direction towards restricting access to this type of care for minors. And this is very new, and the numbers have exponentially expanded over the course of the past 2 years. And so we want to make sure that kids are protected and that we're not doing anything without all the science being in. And so that's why we passed these bills. They're heading to the governor's desk. And I think you're seeing a lot of places around the country and around the world taking a harder look at this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I would agree with that assessment. Looking at the Netherlands, which pioneered gender affirming care for minors, their health ministry said, quote, much more research is needed, very much needed. They said it is still seen as experimental because it is so new. Sweden's National Board of Health and Welfare has also said we need to look at this treatment for minors, as has the United Kingdom's National Health Service. So when we're looking at this bill, the focus on minors and looking at counseling and therapy, I don't think it's unreasonable to acknowledge that this consensus about exactly how safe or when these type of unalterable or permanent medical procedures are done on minors, that it's not wise to step back, look at counseling and wait for more medical information to come out, because the consensus is not there across the board.
But it is in this country. It is with our major medical organizations. So now we're just, I don't know, I guess and we appreciate you being on, Representative Krista Finelli, but I guess my issue is so I feel like we're very choosy about when we look to Europe to follow their lead.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I agree. I would say when you look at the United States, right, where we fall, we tend to jump on board late and more extreme. What would you say?
Well, I will tell you that this is all very new, and I think the science is developing, and I think it's premature to make any profound statements about the effect that these type of treatments can have on minors. But until we are certain, until we are sure that this type of behavior is safe, I don't think it's appropriate for it to be available to minors in the state of Missouri. And that was the large consensus of the General Assembly. And so I consider the issue largely resolved at this point.
Representative Chris Stefanelli, we appreciate your time. Thank you for visiting with us today on KMOX.
Take care.
That is Phil Cristofanelli of District 105 visiting with us on the show. So, again, I would like to reiterate that the majority of the General Assembly of Missouri are not doctors.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you can't make assessments based on consensus and
this
non-consensus.
This is stuff that has been studied. It has been studied for years. We're acting like all of the sudden, out of nowhere,
it's
these kids are
new.
getting treatment. You have all of the major medical organizations in the country disagree with
this
legislation.
Yes. But I mean, I would also say there's some leading gender affirming clinicians like Erica Anderson, Laura Edwards Loper, who
We're talking
are in
about
the Washington
consensus,
Post.
Amy. Consensus, an overwhelming consensus is against your position from experts in their field.
Perhaps the consensus is premature in this country.
I'm not sure that it is. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on KMOX.
At 12:30, some drizzle and 77 degrees downtown at the Arch. Title 42 restrictions used to turn back migrants at the border during the pandemic expire at the end of the day. And happening right now, Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is addressing from the White House briefing room.
And we have not only a security obligation, but a humanitarian obligation to cut those smugglers out. And that is indeed what we are doing. And this president, President Biden, has rebuilt our refugee processing capabilities and is committed to a large number of refugee admissions to the United States. Our president, President Biden, has expanded lawful pathways for migrants like no other president passed. And what we are doing is we are extending an outstretched arm of humanitarian relief to reach people where they are, so they do not have to place their lives in the hands of those smuggling organizations.
But the southern border is not just Mexicans, it is Haitians, it's Africans, as we've seen, particularly with that issue with the Haitians being whipped with the reins or the horses. But what is there?
Well, let me just correct you right there, because actually the investigation concluded that the whipping did not occur.
I'm sorry, I saw it differently. They were whipped with something from the horse, reins from a horse. I maybe the video or the picture was fixed, but what I saw was totally different. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you as corrected.
Again, the Mexican border is not just Mexicans, it's Africans and Haitians. What is there in place, as you hear from people who are advocates for immigrants like Nana Jumphrey, to help those who are trying to seek asylum from places like Haiti that has gangs? They can't even have an election because the atrocities there are just so great.
So a few responses. Number one, we have set up the CBP One app to enable people to make appointments and arrive at ports of entry safely if they qualify for exceptions under the Public Health Authority of Title 42, which of course is set to expire at 11:59 p.m.
That is Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas from the White House briefing room talking about the expiration of Title 42 restrictions, the end of the pandemic. Those expire at the end of the day. Emergency vehicles on 270 South at the exit to Tesson Ferry. The right lane is blocked. A crash on 44 West before Lewis Road. The right lane closed. Weather sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. Shower thunderstorm on a few occasions today. Moving through the area. High 77. Low tonight 67. Tomorrow's high 83 with a spotty thunder shower. Chances are you have a lot of people who depend on you, your family, maybe even employees. Life insurance from Penn Mutual can provide you peace of mind and protect the most important people in your life. Ask your independent advisor or go to PennMutual.com/STL. Some drizzle, 77 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underline Tree Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
When you have electrical needs, whether it's an emergency or a planned upgrade or a planned inspection, call on Reinhold Electric because They answer their phone 24 hours a day. And with this combination of responsiveness of the staff and the experience and efficiency of the field workers, that provides you, the customer, with the best project experience or emergency service available in the Midwest. Put Reinhold Electric's number in your contacts, 314-631-1158. Tell them Bo sent you to Reinhold Electric.
Remember your childhood piggy bank and the satisfaction you felt finally reaping the rewards of your diligent savings? With TrueHold, you can access your biggest piggy bank, your home's equity, and start enjoying the retirement you planned for right now without having to move. Here's how. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value while home values are high. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. Plus, TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance too. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Start enjoying your home's equity while values are high. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Hi, I'm Paul Goldschmidt. Hi, I'm Miles Michaelis.
I'm Adam Wainwright, and you're listening to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Friday night, it's the Cards and Red Sox. Cameron Total Access 515. First pitch 610.
KMOX is Cardinals Radio.
Chris and Amy on KMOX. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on the show. We're finished at 1. If you've missed anything, any of our interviews, we talked to Major Garrett, John Gunther, author of The Gateway Arch, Representative Phil Cristofanelli joined us, Matt Pauley talked some Cardinals with us. Cardinals do have an off day today. They will be back at it tomorrow. They're in Boston at Fenway Park, which, by the way, one of my favorite ballparks in the country. I really, really like that place. It's
Fenway's
old
awesome.
and it's it's a bit dingy on the insides, but they have done it's a beautiful ballpark to sit in, and it feels like it's a million years old, but it's very nostalgic. I love that ballpark. So they will be there for a series that begins tomorrow. Well, Amy, we know that the anti-media sentiment has been growing. And it's interesting that this conversation is coming up now because last night, as we have already discussed throughout the day today, former President Trump had a CNN town hall, and a lot of people are upset with that network for giving him that platform. And I fully understand where those folks are coming from. Following January 6th, following the election denialism, which he still continues, and even last night said that he's not even sure, and I'm paraphrasing, that he's not sure if he'll accept results in 2024. I think his exact words were something like, if it's legitimate.
Which means if I win.
If I win. And that's all that means. And this is what bothers me about that. Any reasonable person knows what he's saying.
Yeah.
Anybody know. And if you don't know that's what he's saying, what is wrong with you? He's literally telling you, I'll accept the results if I win. I don't understand following a candidate like that, but we can totally disagree on it. On the other hand, last night, that town hall happening, despite all the other stuff, despite the January 6th, despite the denialism, despite the lawsuit that he just lost, the sexual harassment lawsuit, sexual assault lawsuit, despite all of that, he is very likely going to be the Republican nominee, and you can't ignore him. The media can't ignore him. But trust in the media is down pretty heavily, and I think it has been for a while, Amy.
Well, yes, it has, and it's been growing. And Trump's statement that the media is the enemy of the people and so forth, it didn't help things. I think there was a lot of confusion and muddying of the waters, one with cable news and the talking heads, opinion givers who are not reporters, right? People see the opinion givers, equate them with reporters and say, well, the news can't be trusted because they don't like my guy.
Right.
That really messed things up. I even think social media like Twitter a lot of reporters, not all of them, but some, were expressing their own personal views on Twitter. And the thing is, what made that kind of muddy is if you have a reporter expressing his or her own personal view because they were pre-Elon, checkmarked and had the cachet of big organizations, legacy media outlets like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, those opinions they looked like they have the approval of the gatekeepers of that newspaper outlet, when really that was just the personal opinion of the
Right.
reporters. And so that kind of muddied the water as well. At any rate, I mean, Rush Limbaugh had the bumper stickers, "I don't believe the liberal media." So that's
I
been
don't
going on
remember
for a
those.
while, like
Yeah.
even before cable news and Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, and I think it really started to take hold when Fox became pervasive. It was in everybody's home, and they used to, and I guess they still do it, but they're in the very beginning, they would drive home that point. The liberal media, we're fair and balanced. That was their whole thing. That was their package, right?
Mhm.
And it's, I don't know if they say that explicitly all the time now, but that was the thing that they used to. What's interesting is the most trusted
I know, I
media
was gonna-
organization
Yes.
in the country.
Yes.
I know you know what it is.
Mhm.
This is really, it's not funny. I get it. It makes total sense.
Yeah. And
But
this
right
is
now,
from a YouGov Economist poll. So the Economist YouGov did a poll of 1,500 Americans across the spectrum of political beliefs.
Yeah.
What is the most trusted major media outlet? What's up, everybody?
Sesame Street.
No.
Okay.
Give everybody a second to guess.
All right. 1
And-
Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. You get 5 seconds. 3 Mississippi, 4, 5.
It is the Weather Channel.
Yep.
The Weather Channel.
The Weather Channel, which is interesting because people are always complaining about how the weather person is always wrong.
Always wrong.
50% of the time they're right. That's what they say. These weather people don't know what they're doing. They're just throwing stuff against the wall. And now that's the most trusted media organization.
To be honest, I didn't know they counted in this poll because I guess
It's media.
It's
News. It's just weather news.
It's just weather news. They're not talking politics.
No.
It's just weather news. So the Weather Channel is the most trusted. I think the next two are a bit surprising considering the sentiment that's popular today. Anti-state-run media.
State-run media.
Yeah.
Number
PBS.
2 is
PBS. Number 3, the BBC.
Mm-hmm. And I think the reason BBC is
Mhm.
trusted here by people is because it doesn't originate here.
Because they think they don't have any skin in the game.
Right. They're independent. They're outside observers because they're in England.
The BBC is way more government involvement than PBS or NPR.
Number 4, fourth most trusted is
The Wall Street Journal.
The Wall Street Journal, which costs $1 million a year to subscribe.
I do love the Wall Street Journal.
Yes, you like the hard copy because you're 50.
Yeah,
No, you're older
there's
than that.
nothing
You
better.
are 89 years old.
There is nothing better than waking up with a cup of coffee, looking outside, and seeing the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal delivered in your yard. It's like Christmas morning every morning.
Number 5 on the list is Forbes.
That kind of surprised me.
Does it?
Yeah.
Forbes, I think the perception of Forbes is, even though they have a lean, they
Mhm.
most definitely have a lean to the right, but they are, maybe we just don't talk about them as a breaking news organization. It
Right.
sounds like a business,
It always
thing,
feels
and
kind of
that's-
spammy. I don't know why.
It does?
Yes.
I don't feel that way about Forbes. I'm surprised that they are in front of the Associated Press.
I like AP.
Well, the AP is it's a collection of people from around the world.
Mm-hmm.
From various organizations. ABC is the highest rated or the most trusted of all of the 3 major networks.
Yep.
So it's ABC, trusted instead of ahead of USA Today,
Mhm.
which is a newspaper. Then it's CBS,
Mhm.
then Reuters, and then NBC.
So NBC is
the
out of
least trusted.
They're out of the top 10. NBC is 11.
Are you surprised at where Washington Post is? Because following NBC is Time Magazine.
Weird.
Time Magazine is more trusted than the Washington Post, which does outstanding reporting. That's not to say they never get anything wrong, but for the most part, they are really, really good.
And I think they're tied because they're both at 18 points. So maybe they're tied. But Time Magazine, yeah, the Washington Post I really like. And they do the whole Pinocchios.
Uh-huh.
And the Pinocchios are pretty legit. Then NPR, then The Economist, Business Insider. That one also feels spammy.
Way down on the list.
The bottom.
Near the bottom. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's easier to count from the bottom than it is from the top. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 from the bottom is Fox News. Here's what's interesting.
That's interesting.
What is more trusted than Fox News right now, currently, is OAN.
This poll surprised me because people go, oh, well, Fox News is at the bottom. They must have interviewed more Democrats. But strangely, OAN is above Fox News.
That's really interesting.
It actually, Axios, Politico are near the bottom at 6 points and 5 points. Then MSNBC, OAN, the Washington Examiner, Fox News. I like Axios and Politico.
The bottom 5,
Mm-hmm.
BuzzFeed News, which operations closed anyway, or are closing. I'm not sure if they're completely done, but they're about to be. The Daily Kos, which I don't know.
I know I've heard of it. I feel like an idiot.
It's been around a long time.
I've heard of it, but that's all. Which way is that, left or right?
I think it's left.
Okay.
More left. And then the bottom 3, Breitbart, the Daily Caller, and Infowars by a lot.
By
it's
a lot. Negative 16
yes,
points.
it is. It's very, very untrustworthy.
And the Daily
according to
Caller
people.
is not the Daily Wire, which is Ben Shapiro.
Correct.
Yeah, the Daily
Totally
Caller is
different.
something different. Okay, yeah.
Anyway,
I
think this list is really interesting. I really, really do. I'm not surprised at the Weather Channel. I didn't think they would be on the list to begin with, but now that I know they are, it makes sense.
Yeah, and
if they were one of the choices.
And it's interesting that The Atlantic, the National Review, CNN, and the New York Post are all kind of nestled in the middle. That must just be the partisan split. I'm surprised CNN is that low. When it comes to breaking
I am not because
news,
of the anti-CNN rhetoric.
which is kind of surprising. When it comes to breaking news, I'm not talking about the talking heads like Don Lemon, who's the worst. When it comes to breaking
And he
news,
ain't there no mo.
CNN is awesome.
I'll tell you what's interesting. Yes, breaking news, they're very good at covering live events. And Shimon Prokupecz, for example, awesome at covering some of the worst tragedies we've experienced in this country.
Yeah.
Now, what I've always found really fascinating was when you have people who criticize the left-leaning news organizations. Why is it always CNN and not MSNBC?
Which is the worst. Or worse than CNN. Yeah.
MSNBC is by far the most left network. Why do you not criticize MSNBC? It's always CNN.
Now, this outlet is in the top half, but just barely. C-SPAN. How do you distrust C-SPAN? Isn't it just a live camera on Congress?
I didn't even notice that.
Do they have...
Oh, my God. Yeah, they're like in the middle.
Do they have opinion on C-SPAN?
I don't think
I
so.
thought it was just a camera in the Capitol.
That's so weird. Wow. Okay.
I don't trust that camera angle.
Very interesting. Which was the best, remember when there was no rule and you could
Yeah.
see the people debating on the House floor during the McCarthy vote? That was awesome. All right. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji, anything you want to tell us before we get off the air here? You can. 314-436-7900 on KMOX.
Well, STL Fenceworks is proud and excited to install American-made aluminum and vinyl fence products, as well as American-made decking. Let's start with the decking because decks are my favorite. The weather is finally turning where it's warmer. It's a perfect weather to go out in the morning with your cup of coffee, sit on the deck, read the paper, listen to Total Information AM. STL Fenceworks is the #1 distributor of Wolf Cellular PVC decking in the Midwest. Now, that is proudly manufactured. All of that decking is proudly manufactured right here in the United States. It was also voted the #1 maintenance-free decking product in the U.S. And STL FenceWorks can build a deck that is sturdier than your home. I don't know how many companies can say that. They also stand behind their product. Not only do you know that when you get a deck from STL FenceWorks, it will be created, built in a timely manner by craftsmen who can stand behind their work, so much so that they have a lifetime warranty on all their products that surpasses anything else in the industry. At STL FenceWorks, your satisfaction is their passion. So visit them today at stlfenceworks.com.
How are balloons made? Where did the dinosaurs go? Why is the sky blue?
Your kids asked you the tough questions because they trusted you. So how about another question for you? Do you have a trusted financial professional to go to for answers on your retirement? Questions like, how much do I really need to retire? When should I take my Social Security benefits? Could my taxes go up when I stop working? We'll leave those tough kid questions to you, but for your retirement questions, Heisey Advisory Group is the team to ask. Call them today at 314-328-4400. We all have important questions. Get your retirement questions answered with help from Heisey Advisory Group. Call now at 314-328-4400. That's 314-328-4400.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, and SEC-registered investment advisors. Security products and services made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. AEFS and Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC are not affiliated.
How's your mental health? I'm listening with Dan Reynolds from Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, I don't think there's an age that's too early, because really, if you take away the word therapy, what's happening is, hey, let's communicate with other people. Let's communicate what you're feeling. It's just communication skills. So it's like basically you're just saying, hey, there might be some conversation that you can have with X person that's going to help you. And because it helps you to evolve as a human.
Explore more at imlistening.org.
Sponsored by Compass Health Network, now hiring.
Fairwinds River's Edge is an award-winning independent living community located in the heart of St. Charles. Voted Best Independent Living by U.S. News and World Report, Fairwinds River's Edge provides the life-enhancing independent living services you need to support your best self. We believe that joy isn't just for the young, it's for the young at heart. With services and amenities handling life's necessities, you can dance and enjoy live entertainment at happy hour. Play a competitive game of beanbag baseball with your neighbors. Participate in an aquatic fitness class at a warm water pool. Or go out to Crown Candy for lunch. Say goodbye to home maintenance, cooking, and cleaning, and hello to the fun. In our active community for adults 55 plus, you'll cultivate connections and make meaningful memories in a community that feels like home. Join the fun at Fairwinds River's Edge. There's always something going on. Call them to see what's coming up next. 636-754-2317.
Call Midwestern Pest Control, your pest prevention expert since 1962, to keep your home safe from termites, ants, spiders, and other pests ready to invade your home. Call 314-838-1121. I called Midwestern Pest Control to get rid of ants in my kitchen. Now they come to keep them out. Call Midwestern Pest Control to protect your home or business now. 314-838-1121. 314-838-1121.
This is Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates. For the best eye doctors, you need to see the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. YourEyeDoc.com, 314-966-5000.
Amy Marks Course.
This is my show, my microphone.
On the show.
Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on KMOX. Anything you missed today, really good interviews, Odyssey app, it's free. Download it. You can listen to us wherever you are. Rewind function. The podcasts are there, listening live. It's awesome. You got to get it. It's a very good idea for you and a great gift for mom for Mother's Day. Let's talk to Daryl in Baldwin. What's happening, Daryl?
Thank you very much for taking my call, everyone.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to start with one question that you asked, and then if we want to expand the conversation, depending on your time, great. You both mentioned accurately that CNN and MSNBC are more or less the same. except why is one trusted a lot less than the other? CNN under MSNBC.
Oh, I think
No. What I said was MSNBC is definitely a far left network.
Yeah,
way more
exactly.
than CNN is.
And
Yeah.
CNN is great for breaking news.
Yes.
Right, and why was MSNBC? I guess was ranked higher on whatever survey or whatever report you were reading. Reason is MSNBC pretty much owns what they are. They're not trying to hide the ball. They take responsibility for being the leftist swine that they are. CNN
So you think left
is
people are
trying to hide the
swines?
ball. CNN's trying to say fair, and we're the ones that are central and the fair, are the fair and balanced network. They're trying to.
Well,
they're
Fox
saying
is the only one
same
that's
thing
used that.
MSNBC is, but they're trying to say, but we tell the truth, and we're telling we're telling it right down the middle. We're calling the balls and strikes. which is a
Daryl, let me
bunch of
stop.
crap.
Let me stop you for a second, Daryl, and ask you a couple questions. First one is: do you think people who have left-leaning ideas are swine?
Left-leaning ideas
or left ideas? Do you think I'm a swine because I have liberal thoughts?
Because I have left-leaning ideas.
Daryl, do you think I'm a swine because I am progressive?
No. Again, to finish what I tried to start.
Well, you called a swine.
Okay. Thanks. Anyone can have left-leaning ideas. I have left-leaning ideas.
Okay.
The ideas that MSNBC discusses are not merely left-leaning. They go way farther than that. Any reasonable human being can have left-leaning.
Okay. Well, all right, just
Thank you.
we get the point.
So CNN is +7 trustworthiness. MSNBC is +5. My comment was I was surprised CNN wasn't higher. Because I do think their breaking news is really good.
It's because of the rhetoric from people like Daryl.
Yeah.
It's when you have powerful people in Congress or former presidents constantly beat that drum of CNN's bad, CNN's bad, CNN's bad, CNN's bad, then it finally filters its way to people like Daryl, and they start to believe it.
And like I
now,
said,
there's left leaning on CNN. There's no question about that.
Yes.
They also have a lot of Republican representatives on their network too. But the real true left network is MSNBC. It's not CNN.
And the true right network is Fox News.
Yeah.
Which they have the term fair and balanced.
I don't know if they use it anymore, but that's how they
Used to.
started. Their very
They were
first
like, we got to get rid of this.
their first motto was fair and balanced.
Yeah. Maybe they got rid of that.
I don't know if they did. It was that, and then it was we report, you decide. I don't know what else they have.
When you're here, your family.
No, I think that's Ponderosa.
That's the Olive Garden.
That's what I meant.
Ponderosa?
Yeah.
I think it's gone. There might be one left. I loved Ponderosa.
Of course you did.
As a kid. How could you not? The ice cream bar?
I don't remember the ice cream bar. Ponderosa.
You don't remember the?
No.
Then you haven't been to
Hold
Ponderosa.
on, restaurant Ponderosa.
What kind
Are
of
there any left?
sad little person are you? How could you not?
Oh, they're Ponderosa and Bonanza. Were they always together?
No, I've never been to a Bonanza.
We used to have a Bonanza. We had both. Granite City was doing really well for a while.
Yeah.
We had a Ponderosa and a
Well,
Bonanza.
We had a family that took a real close-up photo in front of the Ponderosa mural on the wall and sent it as their Christmas card, and everybody thought that they went to the mountains, went to Lake Tahoe. And it was, I cannot tell you how real it looked. Everybody was like, when did you go to Tahoe? It's the
All right.
Ponderosa.
It's time for Amy Marks-Kors, the right-wing lunatic, and Chris Ranji, the liberal swine, to get off the air. The Dave Glover Show is coming up next. We thank you for listening. Back at 10 tomorrow with Hancock and Kelly on KMOX.
You know, one of the best things about retirement is all the great senior discounts you'll be getting.